Remind me never again to take this much stuff on a weekend trip to Logansport.
Well, one thing you can leave behind next time is me. Home at last.
Be it ever so humble.
Talk about humble.
Where's our furniture?
It's gone.
I can see that. Oh, my God. We've been robbed.
They took everything.
Oh, there's somebody in the bedroom.
Oh, no.
Oh, Schneider, you scared the hell out of us.
What is the matter with you? Why can't you at least knock before you come in?
Schneider, what are you doing here?
Well, I was just trying to surprise you. I wanted to shampoo all your rugs before you got back.
Oh, you see how everything has a simple explanation. The mysterious prowler is just our Schneider, and the missing furniture isn't missing at all. It's just piled up out of the way in the bedroom.
No, it isn't. Why would I pile it up in the bedroom?
Where is it?
What, are you losing your memory or something? The upholstery people came for it yesterday.
What upholstery people?
The upholstery people that you called. I signed a pickup slip myself.
Schneider. I didn't call any upholstery people.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I didn't.
You did. They came, they showed up, they had uniforms, they had a big van, they had your authorization to upholster and refinish.
We've been robbed.
Don't say that.
We have been robbed.
I just asked you not to say that. Look, they even gave me a complimentary pot holder. Here, you can have it.
Mom, they took everything. The silver, everything.
Oh, gee, I feel sick.
Well, that makes 3 of us.
You must think I'm really stupid. Yeah, but I mean, they seem so legit. They had uniforms with big zippers.
Schneider, didn't you notice anything suspicious?
Like when they carried off the silver?
Well, I didn't see any of that. I mean, there I am holding one end of the couch and guiding it through the door, you know.
You helped them rob us?
Only with the heavy stuff.
You helped them rob us?
Yeah, they looked so legit. They had an order. They had this written...
Yes, I'd like to report a robbery.
Well, what'd they say?
They put me on hold.
Honey, would you get that?
You called for the police?
Yes, 3 hours ago.
2 hours and 4 minutes.
You still took forever.
Well, I was on my way over, but I stopped to get a candy bar and got caught in a holdup.
You're kidding.
I got shot in the shoulder.
You're kidding.
Well, the doctor said I would have been a goner if the bullet hadn't been deflected by my Milky Way.
You are kidding. Come on in. But try not to bleed any chocolate on the carpet.
Are you Ann Romano?
No, I'm Barbara Cooper.
Married name?
Maiden name.
Oh.
Meanwhile, back at the robbery.
Excuse me, you're Miss Romano.
Yes, I am.
I'm Officer Preston. I'm sorry it took me so long to get here.
Yeah, he got shot in his Milky Way.
Yes.
You didn't say it was an emergency, and we do have to take care of crimes in progress first. You reported something stolen?
Yeah. You could say that. Yes.
Do you have a list of the stolen items?
Yes, I do, right here. Here you go.
Do you have serial numbers?
No, I'm sorry, I don't.
Well, did the furniture have any identifying marks?
Oh, the sofa had a pinkish-brown ice cream stain from when my sister and I had a food fight.
Oh, wait a minute. There was this bright red nail polish blob on one of the cushions. You know, I think it was Tahitian Temptation. I bought that right after my divorce.
Well, everything helps. The more information I get, the better. Your phone number, please?
555-4124.
You can reach me at that number, too.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Officer Preston, look, most of the furniture here was old.
Yeah, why would anybody steal it?
Well, there's always a market for stolen goods. We have hundreds of people buying and selling stolen merchandise all over town, like at those flea markets.
Excuse me.
Did stupid Fuzz show up yet? On the peaches?
Are you Mr. Romano?
Well, I can understand why you might make that mistake. There is an unspoken magnetism between us. But, no, my name is Schneider, and I'm the building superintendent.
Well, maybe you can help me.
Why not? He helped everybody else.
Upholsterers? I thought they were upholsterers.
Miss Romano, we advise that you notify the building super whenever you're expecting tradespeople.
Right, see, if you'd have notified me that they were not coming, none of this would ever have happened.
Yes. Thank you, Schneider. I'll remember that.
I'll never live this down. You make one small mistake, you never live it down.
He saw the crooks.
Well, then you can give me a description.
Yes, sir, I can. I anticipated you there. I wrote it all down. Let's see, the perpetrators were approximately 2 in number. The taller one was about 35, 10 even. Rangy build, say 155. Brown eyes, brown hair, small mole on his left cheek. He was probably a Catholic.
How do you figure that?
Well, when he lifted his end of the couch, he said, "Mother of mercy, this is heavy." See, the shorter of the two was, I'd say 5, 6 3/4, somewhere between 130 and 32 pounds. Brown eyes, smoked filtered cigarettes.
Very observant. Anything else?
Yeah, she was stacked.
She was a woman?
Yeah, it's the first thing I noticed.
Oh, Schneider, why didn't you tell us she was a woman?
Because if I'd have said that, you'd have called me a sexist. And I'm not a sexist. That bimbo was a crook. Under the ERA, she's entitled to whatever the other guy doesn't want.
Well, with this description, we stand a better chance of nabbing them.
Oh, Officer Preston, there was one thing I didn't put down on the list. It's important to me. When they took our trunk, they also got our family photo album. Do you think there's any possibility?
Probably not, Ms. Romano. I'm afraid thieves tend to toss personal stuff like that into the nearest trash can. I'm sorry. But I promise we'll do the best we can for you folks.
Oh, I know.
You see, the problem is we just don't seem to have enough manpower to handle all the burglaries.
I know.
It's practically a growth industry.
Really?
Say, my sense of direction is kind of bad. Do you think you could show me to the elevator?
Sure, why not?
I'll tell you, I could live without this old furniture. But our photo album, they've stolen our memories. Oh, boy. This is really great, you know? I'm trying to get a business started. Our office isn't even painted. My partner is impossible. Now we have been robbed.
Oh, Mom. Come on, look at the bright side.
What bright side?
I think I got a date.
Oh, I thought you were Nick.
Huh?
Yeah, he's bringing some papers over from the office.
What are you doing home?
I'm waiting for the insurance adjuster. Where'd you get the beanbag?
At the beanbag store? No, Mrs. Ferguson gave it to us, but I think she's just trying to unload it. Mom. I'm sorry. I was just going to ask you if you're as jumpy as I am, but...
I'll tell you, the whole idea of somebody coming into our home, uninvited, and going through our things, it makes me feel violated, furious, scared.
I know what you mean. I think I slept about 2 hours last night.
Well, I think we're just gonna have to think positive, that's all.
Right. Something to drink?
Yeah. For instance, It's axiomatic that having your furniture stolen makes dusting easier.
Girl, that's the old attitude.
Well, what's life if you can't laugh at it, huh?
Right. Here are the bills.
What do we have here? Oh, isn't this jolly? The rent is due. And what delightful thing. Oh, the final payment on the stolen TV set. And let's see. We have in this gorgeous envelope $300.
What?
Dear Ms. Romano, you probably don't remember me, but once I was a worthless beggar pleading for handouts on the street.
Old boyfriend?
But you, good Samaritan that you are, changed all that for me, and I enclose this small sum as your just reward. Please always remember and don't ever forget. Without you, I would not have become yours truly, the governor of Utah.
Governor of Utah. That's very clever.
Oh, that Schneider. Doesn't he realize that the governor of Utah doesn't use lined note paper?
Oh, that poor guy. He's really on a guilt trip.
$300. He needs his money more than we do.
Right. We'll give him 150 back.
Me? Anybody home?
Nobody here but us good Samaritans.
I thought I'd fix that linoleum where it's buckling in the kitchen.
Gee, that's no job for the governor of Utah.
What are you talking about?
Schneider, we can't take your money. And you mustn't feel bad. We don't blame you.
Yes, you do.
No, we don't.
Yes, you do.
We don't.
You do. Forgive me
We forgive you.
completely?
Completely.
Totally?
Totally.
Beyond any shadow
Yes,
of a
Schneider,
doubt?
you're forgiven all the way.
I know how you feel. I was robbed once. Sardinia. I never thought she'd find my wallet under the goat.
Oh, hi, Barbara, you poor kid. How is your sweet mother? Is she still in a coma? I'm really...
What are you talking about?
Shh, the insurance adjuster's outside. I asked him to wait at the elevator and give me 5 minutes. Schneider, is there something wrong with the elevator? I had to walk up.
No, it's just being inspected.
Oh, I thought maybe you gave it away.
How about I give away 5 knuckles?
Annie, my little partner, I brought you some flowers to cheer you up.
Nick, that's very sweet.
Well, it wasn't that sweet. I paid for them out of petty cash.
My petty cash?
Our petty cash. I paid for half and you paid for half.
You're right. It's not that sweet.
Say, Mr. Romano, you got insurance and all that furniture?
Yes, of course.
Well, I may have done you a favor. You can buy all new stuff.
If you play your cards right.
Yeah, I mean, them insurance companies, they got money to burn. They're just waiting for you to rip them off.
No. Look, I am not going to cheat anybody.
Mom, I did see this gorgeous pine cabinet that would look great with this lamp I saw at Block's.
Darling, forget it. We are not going to lie to the insurance people. Although, I did see this beautiful sofa. You know, the kind where you just sink into it.
Oh, yeah. I love to shop.
Ah, me too.
I love to shop, too.
No. All right, come on now. This is all wishful thinking. We've got to be honest.
Insurance
Probably.
adjuster, right? Okay.
Ms. Romano?
No, I'm Barbara, but come on in.
Hi, I'm Ann Romano.
I'm Dewey Lawton. I'm from the insurance company.
Yes, this is Nick Handress, my business associate.
How do you do?
Hi.
And I am Dwayne Schneider, building maintenance engineer and chief of security. May I see your identification, please?
Mr.
Lawton.
Lawton, yes, thank you. Why don't you take...
Yeah, come on over here because we have a list of the stolen items right here.
Thanks.
It'll help.
Let's see. Sofa, easy chair, stereo, toaster, trunk. I hope none of these things were yours.
Oh, well, I did lose my bedroom furniture.
Oh, that's a shame.
And so was the robbery. Yeah. Hi.
Let's see. I'll need your estimate of the value. If I seem a little slow, it's because this is my first case.
First case?
Just a babe in the bush.
Believe me, we are going to do all we can to help you.
Well, let's start with the sofa.
Okay, the sofa. The sofa was very old. It was probably an antique.
Absolutely. It's genuine Chippendale.
Chippendale?
Yeah, Chippendale.
Well, actually, it was just a lovely old sofa. It had a solid walnut frame and that, a thick brocade upholstery.
Would you say the total value of everything stolen is in excess of $3,500?
Let's just break this down. We had a sofa, we had the easy chair, the TV set, the beds.
Silver.
Right, which is going up even as we speak.
And what about this lovely little child's lovely little bed on which she rested her lovely little head and played with her little teddy bear? What kind of a value can you put on that, sir?
Schneider.
Well, I would say, now this is conservative, mind you, that the whole thing was probably worth, what, $9,000?
Oh, for sure, you say. 10,000 at least.
Okay, maybe 10.5.
Hey, guys, come on. Now, the stuff here really wasn't very expensive. I don't think it was really worth that much. I mean, allowing for depreciation and not counting the sentimental value, I don't think that it was worth any more than, well, let's say 10.5 sounds right.
Mom!
Honey, now come on. We can't ask for more than that. We have got to be fair.
Insured estimates $10,500. Would you sign here?
Sign. You want me to put my name on that with Anne Ramon? Well, maybe it's worth less than that.
It doesn't matter, Miss Romano. I'm recommending you get the policy maximum.
Oh, that's terrific.
$3,500.
$3,500? I got more than that tied up in spackle.
I'm sorry, that's the extent of your coverage. You never upgraded your policy. We sent you notices. Even had stamped envelopes.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't want to pay the extra premium, so I just threw them away.
After she peeled off the stamps.
I'm awfully sorry.
I know you are.
I wish there was something I could do.
I know you do.
I'll process this as fast as I can.
I know you will.
Which way is the elevator?
I'll show you.
I hoped you would.
I'm glad we did it.
So am I. Besides, it's good for the economy to keep money in circulation.
Right. And we're being very patriotic. I mean, this was made in America.
Yeah?
Well, Central America.
Close enough. That's gonna be our new desk.
Okay, great.
Oh, Dewey, hi. I thought you were our new desk.
Maybe it's my legs.
Come on in.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, nice furniture.
Oh, thank you.
I guess my timing's perfect. Here is your insurance check.
Oh, just in time. That is just wonderful. We're going to need it to pay for all this stuff. and
Yeah,
the
we have a
stuff
new
that's
desk coming and wallpaper.
They stole your wallpaper?
No, we just decided to do the whole thing over.
Yeah, we figured if we're going to go broke, we might as well do it in style.
It's gonna be so beautiful when it gets done. That's our new desk.
Yes.
Hi, Barb.
Oh, hi.
Have I got a surprise for you? Schneider?
Hey, here we go!
We found your old pal. Oh, my God.
Where did you find it?
The River Drive Flea Market. Schneider and I took turns staking it out.
Schneider.
Well, I had to do something to recapture my place in your heart.
And I had to show you that the police aren't totally helpless.
And I have to adjust this check.
I tell you something, Mr. Romano, all this new stuff, it's nice, you know, but it's a little bit avant-cote, you know? I think we'll just, we'll help you take it out.
No, Schneider, I don't want to get rid of our new stuff.
I don't either, darling, but we can't afford to keep it.
Why do the police have to solve crimes?
We didn't find everything.
Right. Right, you didn't. It was just this. Will we get some of our insurance money back?
Most of it.
Most of it. Good. That means we'll be able to keep most of our new furniture. Oh, that's great. That's great. All right. Does anybody want to make a bid on this?
I'll give you 25 for it.
$25. Anybody else? Shiner.
24.
23.
22.
Barbara, that's absolutely remarkable. You're just as good as you were when you were in the Girl Scouts.
Yeah, well, once you got it, you know.
It's time to get rid of it. I'm so glad we can dump all of this stuff at the White Elephant sale at Schneider's Lodge.
All of it except this, Mom. You're giving away my tutu?
Barbara, darling, it's been in my closet for 11 years. Where'd that come from?
Oh, this?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd say World War II.
It was my daddy's.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I miss Daddy a lot.
Yeah, so do I. But poor Grandma, he was her whole life.
Mm-hmm. It's been 6 months since he died, and she hasn't laughed. She hardly talked. She doesn't even tell us how to run our lives. Well, I better put this away before she gets here.
Yeah, it'll just start her crying again. You know, there's got to be something we can do to cheer her up.
We could put dust on the coffee table. She loves to find dust on the coffee table.
Or maybe she'll hate our new furniture.
Oh, wouldn't that be wonderful? Then we'd know she's back to her old self again.
Mom, you're giving away my Arthur Godfrey ukulele?
You were better on the bugle.
Yeah, well. Saying too much.
Oh, it must be wonderful to laugh again.
Hi, honey. Hi, Grandma.
Hi, Barbara. Hi. Oh, hey, I love your new furniture.
Mom, you can be a terrific help to us today. Yeah, Schneider's Lodge is having a White Elephant sale, and we're collecting old junk.
Which pile do you want me on?
Mom, I know it's been rough, but we are going to have a terrific time today.
Sure we are.
Grandma, what's that?
My will.
Mom.
Well, Annie, you have to face the truth. When one goes, the other. Barbara, when the time comes, your mother will need this.
A rubber stamp? Deceased?
Well, it'll make it simpler for her when I'm gone. You see, she can stamp my bills, stamp my mail.
Let's talk about something a little more pleasant, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Sure. There you are, honey.
Oh, Mom, your jewelry box.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, Annie, you always said you loved it. Honey, don't you love it anymore?
Oh, yes, of course, Mom. I love it.
Yeah.
Where's your jewelry?
Don't be so pushy. You get that after Annie, I will never forgive your father for leaving me like this.
I know, Mom. But it's not something he decided to do, you know? Like going fishing.
Grandpa loved you more than anything.
Oh, sure. How about Grandpa and that hussy with the blue hair?
Come on, Mom, you know there was nothing between them.
No.
No.
No, did you hear she just died? Obviously, she will not leave him alone.
Any white elephants in here? Nothing personal, ladies. Hi there, Catherine.
Hi, Schneider.
Boy, you look terrific in black.
Schneider, there are the boxes for your sale.
Yeah, thanks.
15. Hey, that was my husband's shirt size.
This ain't a size. It's a rating. Given to me by a grateful admirer.
Schneider, I thought the rating scale was a 1 to 10.
It is.
No starch. Grandpa always hated starch in his collar.
Mom, I'm sorry. Everything seems to remind you of Daddy.
Grandma.
Oh, but you two have been so sweet. Really, you mustn't worry about me. Please, I still have all of my memories.
Wait a second. Now, I know what Grandma's been going through, but you two, you ain't helping her. I mean, you're giving her a lot of sympathy and pity. And look at her, she's wallowing in it.
If Michael were here, you wouldn't talk to me like that.
I wouldn't have to. He would. He'd tell you get off your can and get your motor running.
He would not. He'd say buns, not can.
Look, Catherine, I got an idea. Why don't you come down to the White Elephant Sale with me? I mean, where else can you drink beer and do your Christmas shopping at the same time?
Grandma, you know you love to shop.
Why didn't you just leave me alone, all of you?
Catherine, the way I see it, you got one of two choices. You can walk out of here on your own steam, or I can pick you up and carry out. Now, what's it going to be? You going to walk out, or do I risk a hernia?
Okay, I'll get ready. But I won't have a good time.
8 hours. Wonder how long Schneider's sale lasts.
Yeah, well, you know how Grandma gets when she's depressed. They probably stopped off for a bowl of chili and a good cry.
Katie, beautiful Katie, you're the only girl that I know. On the moonshine over the cowshed, I'll be waiting at the kitchen door.
One more time, you golden-throated idol of the airways.
Katie, beautiful.
No more times, please.
Grandma, where'd you get that?
At the sale, it's an original Arthur Godfrey. They wanted $75 for it, but I got it for $65.
$65?
No, 65 cents. And they threw in a kazoo.
Hit it, kid.
Yeah.
It looks like you had a wonderful day.
Oh, yeah, they loved her down at the lodge and over at the bowling alley, and they loved her at the pizza parlor. You should have seen her riding the mechanical bull.
You rode a mechanical bull? You better sit down.
Maybe tomorrow.
Mom, we were getting worried. It's late.
Late, oh, honey, the night's still young. The night is young.
I want to tell you, Captain, you're too much for me now. I gotta go.
I gotta go, too.
Oh, I gotta tell you. You're a miracle worker.
Oh, come on, will you? It was nothing, I mean.
Schneider, thank you for what you did for Mom.
Oh, she's a terrific lady. I was glad to help. Talking about terrific ladies, I got a date.
Oh, who is it this time? Boom Boom Borowski? Madeline the meter maid?
Celia the chiropractor. She's from Alaska. Talk about icy fingers up and down your spine.
Thank you.
Dwayne's gone already?
Now, come on, Mom. Don't you think a mechanical bull and a white elephant sale is enough for one day?
Oh, Annie, it was wonderful. And so was Dwayne.
Yeah, he kind of grows on you.
May I ask you something?
Of course.
How would you like Dwayne Schneider for a stepfather? Annie? Barbara, didn't you hear me? Dwayne and I are in love.
With each other?
Mom, Dwayne Schneider, he didn't actually say that...
Oh, honey, a woman can tell. You know, Dwayne's actually kind of shy.
Grandpa Schneider. It's got a nice ring to it.
Mom, don't say anything. Just give me your blessing.
Oh, Lord.
His too.
Mom, isn't this a little ridiculous now? No, now look, I know that you're lonely and I know that you miss Daddy, but you don't fall in love after one ride on a mechanical bull.
Especially when your stomach's full of pizza.
Mom, can you actually look me in the eye and tell me that you believe what you're saying?
He calls me Crazy Legs.
Crazy Legs?
Yeah, he loves the way I dance the kinky camel deed.
Mom, you're in trauma.
Oh, I am in love.
Grandma, now, wait a second.
Oh, he tells the funniest jokes. Annie, did you hear the one about the sex maniac who was hereditary?
What?
Hard of hearing.
Sit down, Mom, please. Sit down. Real funny. Let's talk.
No, I don't want to talk. Oh, I want to dance my way home so I can capture this day of days in my diary.
Grandma, I didn't know you kept a diary.
Well, for this, I'll start one. Hard of hearing.
Hi there, Miss Romano.
Hi.
Got your note. You want to see me?
Yes, Schneider, we have a little problem.
That light switch in the bathroom. I keep
No,
forgetting.
Schneider, it's about you and Grandma.
You know what?
Yeah, could you sit down, Schneider, please? Yeah, please.
See that?
Uh-huh. I'm gonna try and break this to you gently. Let me see, how will I phrase this?
Grandma wants to marry you.
It's one way to phrase it.
Grandma and me married?
Schneider, she thinks she's in love with you.
Come on, why don't you stop the kidding? Happens every time. One date with me and they get a rush of lust.
You came along at just the right time.
Schneider, look, we appreciate what you were trying to do for Mom, but right now she's just so damn vulnerable.
Yeah, I know. She's vulnerable and lonely and miserable and hot to trot.
The question is, what are we going to do?
Not we. Me, I gotta do. Well, I've been there before. I let her down gently. I better go and call her and make a luncheon date for tomorrow. It's never easy when you have to let him down, you know. I remember once in the Yucatan, I was dating a little Mayan lass, Apollonia. We were standing by the sacrificial well when I told her I didn't love her. She was going to throw herself in, but the sign said virgins only. Well, I had to leave before she found the right well. Catherine Romano.
Dwayne?
Katie.
Hi.
See, the thing that I wanted to... I was just going to say, I was calling you to see if you'd like to have lunch tomorrow.
Oh, how about dinner tonight?
Yeah. How did you get in here?
Oh, love finds a way. I made your favorite dinner for you.
Oh, my favorite, huh?
Yeah, chip beef on toast. Well, you told me you had it every day in the Navy. SOS, surprise on a shingle. That's the one.
Listen, Katie, I think you and I better have a talk, huh?
So do I. A little talk, a little wine. But first,
What?
a rumba, senor. When we are dancing and you're dangerously near me, I get ideas.
Listen, Katie, I like you very,
And
very
I
much.
really like you, too.
I mean, we've been for a long time now. We've been friends, pals, buddies, amigos.
I've arranged for our blood test tomorrow.
Catherine, you're talking to a man who has been a bachelor for a long, long time. I mean, for many, many years. Even down at the lodge, I won the Mr. Bachelor contest. You know, I beat out 34 other guys.
Oh, Dwayne, everything you say and do reminds me so much of Michael, bless his soul.
Catherine, I'm a guy that believes that women should be kept in their place. barefoot and pregnant. Katie, this has got to stop. We're good friends, and that's it.
Oh, Dwayne, I'm woman enough to know that there is something between us.
Catherine, there is no us. There is no us. Put your shoes back on.
But yesterday we...
Well, that was because, you were in a funk, and I have this God-given ability to make people happy. Generally speaking. I'm sorry, Catherine.
What an old fool I've been.
Now, listen, don't say that.
Don't touch me. Enjoy your chipped beef. There is a baked apple in the oven. I don't want to talk about it.
Grandma?
Mom?
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
Annie, I offered my affections to a man who spurned me.
Mom.
Oh, Annie, now I know how you must feel. Being rejected by all those men. I feel so stupid. I was so dumb to think I had something to live for.
You have got plenty to live for.
Name one thing.
Your daughter.
Name another.
Your granddaughters.
Another.
Your volunteer work.
Another.
Your bowling team.
Another.
Mom,
There, see, I have nothing to live for.
Catherine? Catherine?
What?
You forgot your shoes.
Thank you. But those aren't mine.
I'm gonna have to start tagging them. Catherine, I'm sorry about everything.
Well, isn't it a little late for that? You lure me to your apartment, get me to cook your meals, start to disrobe me.
Guys, would I do a thing like that? To your grandmother?
No, of course not.
Well, thank you.
Grandma, I didn't mean...
There's a few things that I would like to talk over with Catherine. So, excusez-vous. Booze Tuesday.
We have nothing to talk about.
Catherine, I know how you feel. Can't we still be friends?
I'm all right. I don't want any favors from you.
I want one from you.
Oh?
Oh, I know that you know that I know a lot of girlfriends. Real friends, much harder to come by. You're not the only one that gets lonesome.
You?
I run around a lot and I brag a lot. Being with you is a little different. You're fun. You laugh at all my jokes, you cook a great chipped beef on toast. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm comfortable with you. You're a real good friend. You're a special person.
Sure. Old, tired, boring. Well, I've flung my last fling. And the fling I flung flopped.
Catherine, you're gonna have to stop feeling sorry for yourself.
Well, why shouldn't I feel sorry for myself? Michael is gone.
Michael is gone and you're here.
For what? There's no one to live for.
The hell there isn't. What about living for yourself?
But I have never done that. I've always been somebody's wife, somebody's mother. Now I look in the mirror and I say, who is that remarkably well-preserved woman?
Now's your chance to find out.
What if I don't like her?
What if you do? You calling me?
No, Schneider.
You upset?
It's personal, Schneider, okay?
Hey, Ms. Romano, I'm an old friend. I mean, I'm like one of the family. There's anything I can do, anything.
You got $3,812? Schneider, am I in your light?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. It's the first financial statement for Romano and Handress.
You only got one column there in black ink.
Yep, and that's the date column.
Really got to hand it to you, Ms. Romano.
What for?
For getting out of bed in the morning. After what you've been through, first you get fired.
Yeah, I remember.
Then your furniture gets ripped off. You got to go on the hog for all new stuff.
Okay.
Then you lease a new office. You decorate it. You furnish it.
Look, Schneider, I would really...
Then you got to lay out a bundle for office supplies, typewriters, equipment.
Yeah, I know.
Then you get clobbered on the home front. There's Barbara's tuition. The rent is due.
Schneider, if I would
You've had a really rotten year.
Thank you for reminding me.
Only good news you've had is that your dad's insurance paid for the funeral.
What you're saying is I should be looking on the sunny side.
Absolutely. I mean, 2 months ago, you were flat broke. And today, by dint of your own hard work, you're deep in debt. It's the American dream all over again.
Hi. Hey, it's Mom. I live here.
Oh, right. Hi.
Hey, Barbara, what's on your mind?
Life.
Life. What do you want to know about it?
What's in the fridge? Well,
Liverwurst, coleslaw, half pint of Rocky Road? Well, the bulb was broken in there, so I stuck my head and I fixed it.
Oh, I couldn't eat anything anyway. Even junk food wouldn't help.
Uh-uh. This is serious.
I think I'm going through a midlife crisis.
Midlife crisis? At 19?
Probably means I won't live long.
Come on, kid. What is it? What's going on?
Oh, I've spent my whole stupid life just drifting along, mindless, having fun without a care. What was it all about?
It's called childhood.
Yeah, well, it's all over now. I'm a sophomore. I have to pick a major.
Oh, well, darling, everybody has to make those decisions.
You didn't. You got married. How am I supposed to decide what I want to be, who I want to be years from now?
Look, honey, I know it's tough.
How can I decide? If I haven't been anywhere, I haven't done anything. Dad thinks I should go into business administration. Grandma says I should study home economics. And you put me in the worst position of all. You tell me to make my own decision.
Tell you something about decisions. Decisions are very, very, very tough. When it gets right down to it, the decision is just a question of making up your mind.
Schneider, make a decision to be quiet.
My mind's made up.
Darling, you were going to have a good long talk with your counselor today. Did you do that?
Oh, yes, we did.
Good.
It was the most intimate, honest discussion I've ever been in.
Terrific. Did you discover anything?
Mm-hmm. She's been divorced twice, is hypoglycemic, and wants to be a TV writer.
All right, what about your aptitude test?
Oh, I get the results in a couple days, but I did lousy.
You flunked? Should have studied.
Schneider, you can't flunk an aptitude test. Everybody has some aptitude.
Oh, yeah? What about them Iranian Attilas?
You are a good student. You have plenty of ability. There's any number of things you can do.
That's the whole problem. Everything seems interesting. Marine biology, political science, journalism, dentistry.
Dentistry? You want to be a dentist?
Well, it's just an example, Mom.
Dentistry, huh?
We've never had a professional person in this family.
You'd like me to be a dentist, wouldn't you, Mom?
Ah, it's your decision. Yeah.
When I was a kid, I wanted to be a dentist. I was always so handy with a pair of pliers, you know.
Thank you, Schneider.
The problem is there are so many things I could do. I'm just afraid I'll make the wrong choice. How will I know?
You won't?
Thank you.
Look, the last time lightning struck, St. Paul was on his way to Damascus. The rest of us have to make choices. Tough, hard choices. And when we make them, we never know they're right.
Okay, if that's it, that's it.
That's it.
I've got to make a choice, so I will do it by absolutely, positively Friday at 5 o'clock.
Good for you.
Maybe 6. Of course, 7's a possibility, but 8 isn't out of the question.
Anybody home?
Hello, Schneider.
Hiya, Miss Romano. Broken toaster.
That's not ours.
I know it's Miss LaRue's, but it's very tough to work up there. Nothing but strobe lights and mirrors.
Schneider, you wouldn't be looking for an excuse to drop in now, would you?
Oh, me?
Yeah, Friday, 5 o'clock. Barbara's deadline.
Barbara's really got a tough decision. I mean, nowadays, women can do practically anything they want.
Practically.
Well, except maybe Pope or a good band leader.
Right.
Oh, hi.
Hi, Barbara.
Hi, sweetheart. Well, anything new?
New? Oh, right, new, of course. Okay, my advisor and I went over my aptitude test.
And?
And we talked about me, what I like, what I don't like.
And?
And I made a decision. I don't think you're gonna like it, though.
You're not going to be a dentist.
Look, you made up your own mind. I am delighted, whatever it is.
Don't yell, okay?
Won't.
Okay. I'm dropping out. Mom, don't yell. Don't yell, please.
I won't yell. You cannot drop out of college.
I'm not gonna drop out forever. I need time.
Time? That could be forever.
Mom.
Your sister Julie quit school, never went back, ended up married in Texas of all places.
Now-
2 daughters, 2 dropouts. Great. This is just great.
Now, Mom, I worked it out with my advisor. She's a very intelligent person.
Intelligent. Give me a break. She wants to be a TV writer.
Now, Mom,
Once you drop out, you will never go back.
that's not true. I worked it out with my advisor. She said I could go back anytime I
We have here 2 different and separate opinions on the same subject, and what we need here is some arbitration. So now I'd like to hear both sides.
I'm
Barbara
dropping out of
cannot
college
drop
until I
out of
decide
college
exactly
under
what I
any
want to do,
pretext.
and
You
then
will
I will
never
go
go
back.
Let me digest that.
I'm a little immature, okay? So I need to get out into the real world and decide what I want to do. Then I will go back to college. But to go on taking courses with no goal is just a waste of time and money.
Ah, so that's it. Money! You're dropping out of college because your mom is having financial difficulties.
Well, I thought we were doing better.
We are doing fine.
No, you're not.
Schneider. Barbara, we have plenty of money for college.
But, Mom, I need time to think. I need some experience all on my own. Now, you always said that you never lived enough before you got married to know who you were.
Barbara,
Now,
look-
Mom, you taught me something. I've got an appointment tomorrow with an employment agency. I'm gonna work.
Guess she's gonna need a lunch pail.
Well, I lied to you, Linda. Look, Linda, this is one job you can't afford to pass up. It's a terrific opportunity, Linda. It's right for you. Believe me. 41,005. Linda, please don't scream at me. We'll get them up to 43. You get 6 weeks paid vacation, expense account, company car. All right, so it has its drawbacks. You have to go to Europe 2 or 3 times a year. Paris, Rome. Linda, think it over. Do it for me, please. They need a bright, young, attractive woman right away. Okay? Okay, Linda, bye. Love you.
I'll take it.
You're a sex therapist?
Oh, no.
Well, neither am I, unfortunately. Fred Palmington and you're,
Barbara Cooper.
Barbara Cooper. Very good. Ah, let me see. Barbara, 19 years old. Oh, do you know how lucky you are, Barbara?
No.
Do you have any idea what's waiting out there for a young, energetic, ambitious girl today?
No.
The world. The world is waiting. And it's a world of opportunity, a world that your mother never dreamt of. The possibilities are unlimited. The sky's the limit. How many words a minute do you type?
Oh, well, I'm not interested in secretarial work.
Oh, well, what are you interested in? Huh?
Oh, I think I'd like something creative and exciting and relevant.
Would you be interested in working with people?
How did you know?
Oh, this is a wild guess, wild guess. Well, let me see your application. I'll just check on it. Well, Barbara, let me assure you, you'll be the first one I contact if we ever need a varsity yell leader.
Oh, the application does say other interests.
Yes, I see. Oh, yes, an expert on Elizabethan poetry. That's a rough one, Barbara. In any kind of recession, the first thing they cut back on, Elizabethan poets.
There must be something.
Well, just what kind of a job are you interested in?
Oh, I don't know. How about something in communication?
Communications. Let's see. There's an opening at the Embassy Theater for a popcorn girl.
Oh, well, how about something in the fashion world?
Fashion. That's very interesting. We have a clerk at Kimmel's Dry Cleaners.
How about travel?
Meet a maid.
Mr. Parmington, this isn't exactly what I had in mind.
Barbara, I'm sorry. It's just the same thing day after day. Young people come in here without any skills, without any background, and they expect to start from the top.
All I want is a chance.
And that's just what I'm giving to you. Look, let me give you the facts of life. There are 8 million people out of work. Last week, we had an opening. A receptionist for a meatpacking company. We had 27 applicants. You know who got it? A PhD in zoology.
Where do my best chances lie?
Well, let me put it this way. Does your father own any kind of business?
Okay, all right. How is this for a slogan?
Let me hear.
Mystic mattress. You can bunk on it.
It's not bad.
No, I think it's not bad at all.
Stinks.
Look, Shrimp, when I want your opinion, I'll give it to you. Besides, what do you know about mattresses anyway?
Dad, I'm an expert. I sleep on one. You know what sells a product today?
Tell me.
Cleavage.
What do you know about cleavage?
I read magazines.
What magazines?
Yours. You get some blonde sex pot. Suzanne Summers. Put her in a mattress.
Alex.
In fact, put the three of them on a mattress. You know, three's company. But there's always room on a mystic mattress.
Well, break out the champagne. It's been exactly 2 weeks, and I am 0 for 7.
Oh, darling. I'm sorry you have to be going through all of this.
Hang in there, Barb. Remember, if at first you don't succeed...
Give up.
I beg your pardon?
Nothing.
Oh.
Well, looks like she's not going to find a job.
Annie, are you still hoping she's going to give up and go back to school?
Oh, now, whatever gave you that idea?
Well, I don't know.
All right, so she has until Monday at 6 p.m. to enroll for next semester.
Yeah, well, this is one of those rare moments that you and I are on opposite sides. You don't have to go to college to be somebody. I dropped out.
I rest my case.
I don't know what the problem is. All these job interviews. I'm too young, no skills, no experience.
Maybe they just don't like you.
You know, Barbara, getting a job is like anything else. There is a right way and there is a wrong way.
He should know. I met him in the unemployment line.
You probably got a lot more experience than you realize.
Yeah, look,
It's all in the way you present it. Now, you tell me what kind of jobs you've had.
Well, I was a lifeguard in Rinker Park, the wading pool for 3 weeks.
Okay, you were a civic official.
A couple days at Quickie Burger.
Quickie Burger and a nutritionist.
Part-time at the school library.
With an extensive background in literature, education, and the arts. What?
Oh, Nick, I can't lie to get a job.
Aha, good for you.
Wait a minute, this is not lying. It's just making the truth more palatable.
Dad, the truth is Barbara's got a real problem. She's not qualified for anything.
Alex, if you'd like to drop out, we're on the 4th floor.
Nick, I think maybe you should take Alex home, work on his resume.
Okay, I get the message. Come on, Alex, we've done all we can for the two ladies.
Bye.
Look, Barbara, the important thing to remember is you gotta have confidence in yourself. I think you're a terrific kid, and you got a lot going for you.
What's she got going for her?
When you get out of here...
Okay, come on. Put on your coat. We're going to go downtown and pick up a fishing rod for your father's birthday.
No, Mom, come on. I've done enough fishing for one day. I don't want to.
Come on, put your coat on. You've done nothing for 2 weeks but brood about getting a job. You got to forget about it and put your mind onto something else.
I don't want to do this.
Darling, I don't care what you want to do. We're going to go down to the sporting goods store, have dinner, celebrate. Have dinner.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Come on, Mom, let's go. We've been standing here for 10 minutes.
No. Excuse me, sir.
Just a minute. 13, 14, 15, 16,
Look,
17, 18.
we've been waiting for half an hour.
She just said 10 minutes. 20, 21, 22,
What's
23.
the difference?
About 20 minutes. 23, 24, 25, 26.
I am not going to stand here forever.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Come on, Mom, this just is not my day.
Look, I am a customer. I would like some service.
Okay.
Good.
What can I do for you?
Well, what I would like...
Thanks, Sporting Goods. Oh, yeah, hi, doll. No, I'm not busy at all.
Excuse me, what I would...
Some tennis balls, maybe a pocket knife there over at your place tonight? Yeah, great.
No, what I want is a fishing rod.
A fishing rod. At 5:45, we close at 6 o'clock, lady. Okay. You bring the vodka, I'll bring the Gatorade.
See, well, we know what we want. We want the Rembrandt Sportsman 310.
You would just love the Ace Double Action Junior. Oh, boy, that sounds cozy. I'll try to get out a little early,
We
okay?
want the Rembrandt Sportsman.
I would have to find that in the back room. Say, have you considered the Tom Sawyer Bamboo Classic? Oh, yeah, me too, you little pussycat.
The Rembrandt Sportsman 310.
Dumb broad.
All right. Can I help you?
Are you the manager?
I'm afraid so. There's something wrong, right?
You bet there's something wrong. That clerk is lazy, obnoxious, insulting.
Yeah, he's not a nice person.
Do you know what he called me?
Oh, no, not again.
He called me a dumb broad.
Oh, that's not so bad. You should hear what he called Mrs. Brinklow.
You should fire that man.
I know. I should have a revolving door out there just for the clerks.
So are you going to fire him?
Yeah, I should have done it long ago.
Then you'll be needing someone else.
Maybe he's not that bad.
Oh, yes, he is. You were right.
I've been looking for a
Anybody
job.
could have an off day.
My mind is made up.
Come on, sweetheart, let's
You're
go.
going to be needing a new salesperson.
Well, yes, but where am I going to find a young, courteous, conscientious person who wants to work?
Store closes in 12 minutes.
I can do it. Just hire me. I'll show you what I can do.
I'm really hungry.
You want to work here?
Uh-huh.
Full time?
Full time.
What's your background, Miss...
Cooper, Barbara Cooper. I really don't have a background. You see, this would be my first real job.
Yeah, see, she has no experience whatsoever.
Well, hopefully she won't have any bad habits.
Honey, can we talk about this, please?
Could you be here at 9 o'clock Monday morning?
Sure.
Job doesn't pay very much at first. And, of course, I'll have to start you off as a stock boy.
I'm your boy. I'll see you Monday.
See you Monday.
Okay.
Stock boy?
Oh, Mom, I love you. Just think if it hadn't been for you dragging me down here, getting that clerk part, I'd never have a new career.
Stock boy? For this you gave up dentistry?
Come on, I'm starving. Let's go out and have dinner and celebrate. Have dinner.
Barbara? Barbara?
Yeah. Did you call me?
Yeah, honey. Dave and Joanne are going to be here any minute. Could you give me a hand, please?
Not what you had in mind, huh?
No. Come on. Step on it. Oh, they're early.
Mom, shoes.
Oh, okay, right.
Oh. Hi! Alex, what are you doing here?
My dad dropped me off while he's getting some gas. He said your mom had some copy for him.
Oh, right.
He wants to know if we could borrow a needle, too.
Sure.
Hi! Alex. This sure is a friendly family.
Alex needs to borrow a needle. Here you go.
Thanks. Have you got some white thread?
Yes.
And a white button?
Do you want me to sew it on, too?
No. Dad said not to ask. But as long as you volunteered.
Sit down and take off your shirt.
Good.
Hey, whoa, stop before my last two hairs fall out.
Dave, no one notices.
I noticed.
This is Alex. He's got a loose button along with a loose mouth.
Hi, Alex.
Come on in. Sit down. Oh, new furniture. Oh, it looks terrific. Oh, you like it? Oh, I'm so glad. Okay, I want to know everything. Tell me everything. How's Arizona?
Great. Oh, but we sure miss you guys. Best neighbors we ever had.
Oh, we miss you, too.
So how's Schneider?
Oh, he's just fine. He misses you a lot.
Oh, a new tenant doesn't play poker?
Oh, yes, he does. But he wins. Okay. This is to us. To friendship. To health. Salute.
Dave, I can't wait. Let's tell him.
Now? I thought we were going to wait till after dinner.
It's too big to wait.
What is it?
Well, it's kind of personal.
Good. I love personal.
Alex, here, I think it's time you learned how to sew, okay?
It's sex. It always is.
Okay, what is it?
Yes,
I
what's
wanna
the
know.
big news?
Well, it's small, actually, and cute, and exciting, and it drools all over you.
Congratulations, Joanne. That's wonderful. When are you due?
A year or so.
So what are you doing? Taking slow pills?
We're in the talking stage.
Well, you know, Joanne and I have always wanted to have a baby,
Yes, I know. And if anyone should, you should.
but we can't. Not in the usual way. Although we've had one hell of a time trying.
What do you mean, not in the usual way?
Yeah, should I take notes?
Well, I've had a hard time accepting this, but I'm sterile.
Oh. Are you going to adopt?
No, but we are going to have a baby.
We've decided to find a donor.
Aha!
Oh, you're going to go to one of those sperm banks.
No, we are going to use artificial insemination, but we're going to choose the donor ourselves.
Wait a minute, you're going to choose the father?
Can you do that?
Oh, yeah, we checked it out. It's okay with our church. It's not illegal, so we're going to do it.
Oh, well, do you have someone in mind?
Oh, sure do. A good buddy of mine. Good buddy!
Schneider?
Oh, my God.
Oh, doing fine.
You still got that cabin up on Indian Lake?
Oh, yeah, boy, let me tell you that we really miss you on those weekend beer busts. Of course, now I get to drink all your beer. So, Arizona, huh? The great Southwest. They still got them big butts out there?
Those are buttes.
Are they ever?
Hey, Schneider.
Yeah.
What do you do to keep all that hair, huh?
Nothing. Like my dear old mom used to say, thick head, thick hair.
Your dad have a lot of hair, did he?
Oh, yeah. I can remember as a kid sitting in the bathroom watching my mom shave his back.
So, Dwayne, how you feeling? How's your health?
Oh, it's great.
Heart okay?
Yeah, 72 a minute.
Blood pressure?
120 over 12.
Teeth?
Yeah, I got teeth. What's going on here? I feel like the prize pooch at a poodle show.
Nothing, just making conversation.
Yeah.
Look, why don't you let us take you all out to dinner?
Yeah.
No way. You're going to eat dinner here. We'll pick something.
Great. Great. You forgot how she cooks? Well, I'll go downstairs and I'll freshen up. But in your honor, I'll come back with a vintage bottle of Blue Nun.
Oh, no, Schneider, you don't have to do that.
Dave, what's mine is yours.
This is perfect. Oh, Annie, it's like old times. We'll have a nice leisurely dinner, good conversation.
And then hit him with it.
You really want Schneider to be the donor?
Look, it's none of our business, but wouldn't it be easier going to a sperm bank?
Well, for some people. But we really want to know what kind of person the donor is. If he's kind, generous, has a good heart. Like Dave.
And Schneider.
Well, when I was 3, of course, I got the measles. I was down at my grandma's farm. She says I got them from the pig. I know it was that duck.
One cherry, one apple, and one super combo.
Tell us about your relatives back east.
Oh, they're a bunch of crazies.
How crazy?
Well, let's see. There's my Uncle Harry. He collects rats. And there's cousin Ethel. She's a mud wrestling judge. And then there's great Aunt Josie. She orders the scotch for a chain of Midwestern hotels.
But no one's certifiable.
Oh, yeah, they're all citizens.
Look, Schneider, Joanne and I have a little favor we'd like to talk to you about.
Oh, yeah? Well, I sure hope it's within my expertise.
Chances are.
Schneider, we're sorry about all the questions, but we just had to be sure.
Sure about what?
We want to have a child.
That's why we had to get to know more about you.
You want to adopt me?
Of course not.
Schneider, we want you to be the father of our child.
You want me to sleep with your wife?
Schneider, no, I don't think you understand.
Everything would take place in a laboratory with a doctor.
You want me to In front of a doctor?
Schneider, you and I wouldn't actually do anything.
Well, wishing ain't gonna make it so.
What I mean is that we won't actually be doing anything together.
No disrespect. But the last time that happened, there was a bright star hanging in the east. What is she talking about?
Schneider, it's called artificial insemination.
We want you to provide the sperm.
Ixnay on the language in front of the id-K. Listen, you two, I love you two. But gee, I mean, what you're asking here, that goes against all the basic laws of nature. Asking me to have a baby with a woman I haven't even dated.
I'm gonna have the baby all by myself.
If you'll help us.
Dave, you don't mind my asking, why don't you provide the sperm? The little critters.
Little critters?
I'm sterile.
What? You mean you two can't? You never... Gee, you must have a lot of hobbies.
No, Dave's a great lover.
Oh, you mean that you can't make a baby?
Right.
Schneider, I want you to listen to me, okay? This is an important decision. Do you really understand what is going to happen with your little critters?
Yeah, yes, I understand. Of course, artificial inflammation.
Schneider, we need your help. Joanne and I really want to have a baby, and this is the best way for us.
Well, I tell you, I'm very touched, but I'm very confused.
Well, the donor always gets paid.
Oh, no, I don't want any money. Wouldn't want to ruin my amateur standing.
I think you should take your time and think about it, huh?
She's right. I gotta think about this. I need time.
Take all the time you want.
Sure.
You want me to be the father of your child? I haven't been this honored since I was nominated for Supreme Grand Yak down at the lodge. Hey! Oh, will you? You know something? We got rules in this building. No skateboards, no skates, no bicycles, no tricycles, no mopeds, and no wheelchairs over 5 miles an hour.
Sounds like a fun place.
Yeah. Ain't nobody home.
Oh, I bought some jelly beans for Barbara for helping me with my button. Would you give them to her?
What do I look like, a delivery boy?
How come you're so grouchy today?
Give me the beans. I'll deliver them. Alex? I'm sorry. I got something on my mind.
Want to talk about it?
Nah, you wouldn't understand.
Hey, come on, try me. I'm having flashes of maturity.
All right. How would you feel, just supposing, you came home from school, came home from school one day, and you found out your daddy wasn't your real daddy?
I'm adopted?
No, you're not adopted.
Oh, you're
no,
adopted.
I'm not.
Barbara's
no,
adopted?
she's not. Why don't you have one of those flashes you were telling me about? Well, I'm saying, just supposing, your mommy is your regular mommy, but your daddy is an unknown guy, Mr. X.
I'm illegitimate.
No.
You're illegitimate.
No, she's not. You know how babies are made?
Oh, sure. The male taps the female on the shoulder.
Hold. Okay, so you know that. Sometimes, of course, there's variations, I mean, like, see, if the male, if he can't produce enough sperm. If he can't produce any...
Sperm?
Critters! Little critters! Right. So if that's the case, he can't produce any little critters, so they get a friend, and he donates some little critters, and, I don't know, a couple of hundred, whatever it takes, And, So they're implanted into the lady, and the baby results.
That's a lot like artificial insemination.
Very similar. Now, my question to you is that if you were that baby, see, how would you feel if you grew up and you found out about it?
I guess it would just prove that my folks really wanted me.
Yeah, well, what about the guy, Mr. X?
He'd have to be a really special person.
Yeah, why?
Well, without him, I wouldn't be here.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, listen. Alex, you're okay. You're all right. Anytime you want to sit down and discuss the troubles, I mean, just, you know, I'm your guy.
Hey, thanks, Schneider.
Hey, de nada.
Yeah, same to you.
How come I seem to be doing more ironing than I used to?
Because as you get older, you get more wrinkles.
Cute.
Yeah, I thought
cute.
Hi. Are the Woods here yet?
No? Are they supposed to be?
Yeah, I asked them to meet me.
Have you made up your mind?
I tell you something, this morning, you know, I was standing under the shower, you know, and I suddenly thought about that old biblical saying.
Turn the other cheek?
Yeah, close. Now, what I thought about was be fruitful and multiply. There's a lot to that.
Yeah?
You know, if I do this, I'd be kind of like the good seminarian.
You do have a way with words, Schneider.
You know, Miss Romano, as much as I've been able to think about this thing, I haven't been able to come up with one reason for not doing it. But something still bothers me.
What's that?
Joanne.
What?
Would she be a good mother?
Of course she'd be a good mother,
I mean, would she know how to
Schneider.
change a diaper, powder a bottom, burp a baby,
I'm sure she could.
kiss a cheek, soothe a brow, nurse a hurt,
I don't think you need...
tie a shoe, bake a brownie, drive a carpool?
I'm not sure I want to be a mother.
Well, I just want to be sure. After all, I am going to be the father.
You are. You're really going to go through with this?
Yeah, I am. Well, you know, what are friends for? Usually not that. But I tell you something. If everything goes well with the Woods, why, I could start a whole new career. I mean, I could dedicate my whole life to helping childless couples have the baby they've always wanted.
That's sweet, Schneider.
Yeah, it is. I could buy a farm somewhere. People would come to see me from all over the world. Call it Schneider's Tiny Baby Stud Farm.
How about the Little Critter Ranch?
Service with the smile.
Well, that's the Woods. That's them.
He's going to do it.
You're gonna do it?
Hey, I'm gonna do it, yeah.
Schneider.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, no physical contact.
Schneider, come on now. I want to hear all about how you decided to help us.
Well, I tell you, Dave, I was thinking about this thing, you know, and then suddenly it hit me. What a responsibility it is to have a kid.
Oh, we want that responsibility, Schneider.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I had a kid once. Yeah, it's true. Quickie marriage, quickie divorce. She split, took the kid. I never got a chance to be a father to him. Now, you two, I mean, you're giving me a second chance, and I'm going to take it. I'm taking it.
Schneider, you know, Joanne and I would be the child's parents.
Yeah, well, I know that. I just want to be Uncle Schneider. It's going to be great.
Schneider, you know, we live in Arizona.
Yeah, I know. I've been thinking about that, but I I can get out there. I think I can swing it 3-4 times a year. You know, I'll take them camping, fishing, hunting. We'll shoot bulls, split a root beer. What a dynamite twosome. Big Dwayne, little Dwayne. Of course, you don't have to name him after me.
Schneider.
I thought it kind of had a nice ring to it, though, you know. Dwayne Schneider Jr. Wood.
Schneider.
You know what Dwayne means in the original Greek? Yeah, it means he of the golden bicep. Look at that thing.
Schneider, about all these activities you have planned.
Oh, yeah, well, you don't want him to shoot pool. I agree, you're right. No pool shooting, all right. That's settled. Now, what's the next thing? The next thing is school. When the kid is ready to go to school, I think we really have to consider Indiana Trade Tech.
Schneider, that's not exactly what we had in mind.
Well, all right, that's your decision. My second choice would be the Gary School of Maintenance. All you need is a C average.
Look, Schneider, as far as we're concerned, once you leave the lab, your part's over.
Yeah, well... What do you mean, over?
We haven't decided if we're going to tell our child that I was artificially inseminated.
Well, I wouldn't tell him either, but I mean, kid is partly mine, and I would like to kind of hang around and give some advice, you know.
But if you saw the child, it would only be complicated and confusing for everybody.
Wait a minute. Wait a second. If I saw the child, what are you saying? You don't want me to ever even see the kid?
Well, it's for the good of everyone, Schneider.
I don't think that's for the good of me.
But do you honestly think you could see a child that was a part of you and not let on sometime?
Yeah, sure, it's possible. Yeah, I mean, it's possible. Maybe not. I guess I'd always be looking at his face. See how much he looked like me. Probably take the rattle out of his hand and give him a pair of pliers to play with. Gee, I don't know. To know that he's out there and not be able to see him. I mean, not be able to, I don't think I can hack that. I'm sorry if, that's the way it has to be. I mean, if it has to be that way, then I don't think...
But, Dwayne...
Maybe you need some more time to think about it.
No, I don't need no time, Dave. I mean, I would want to hang out with him. I would want to be with him and play ball with him. I never did that with my own son, you know.
Hey. You okay?
Oh, yeah, I'm okay. The funny thing is, you know, I'm just like the Woods here. I mean, they want a kid and I want a kid. You know, you really should go to that sperm bank. That's what they have him for. I tell you, Dave, he's going to be a fine kid. Going to be a terrific kid.
Oh, Schneider. I forgot this.
Listen, I brought this up. Like you to give this to little Dwayne when he comes along. That was mine when I was a kid. Nowadays, you could even give it to little Dwaynette.
Oh, look, Schneider.
Hey, smile, will you? That's a terrific mint. That's a genuine Whitey Karowski. I'd like him to have it. I would, I really. Just tell him it's from Uncle Schneider. But don't ever tell him he was almost my son. That'd break his heart. Break his heart.
I have carried the sound of that door opening for more than 40 years. Not the cheerful click of a key in a lock that means arrival, but the heavier, almost reluctant push of a door that has been left unlocked too long, the slight resistance of air that has settled into stillness while the rightful inhabitants were away. When Anne and Barbara stepped back into the Indianapolis apartment after the weekend at Logan's, the air itself seems to have changed density. I feel it in my chest even now, that peculiar thickening that happens when a private space has been entered by strangers. The line home at last, be it ever so humble, lands with a bitterness that the script does not underline, yet the bitterness is everywhere. Humility is no longer a gentle joke about modest furnishings, it has become an accusation. The apartment has been made humble in the most literal and violent sense. Everything that once softened the edges of the rooms has been removed. I remember the first time I watched this sequence as a teenager, sitting too close to a small television in a living room that still smelled faintly of my father's cigarettes. The emptiness on the screen produced an answering emptiness in the room where I sat. My mother had the same habit of naming the state of a place the moment she entered it. Talk about humble, Anne says, and the phrase has never left me. It is the sound of a woman trying to keep the situation comic for one more second before the reality becomes undeniable. I have heard that same tonal shift in my own mother's voice, the attempt to convert dread into wry observation so that the children will not yet understand how badly the world has tilted. The discovery unfolds in increments, which is how real violations always unfold. First the absence of furniture, then the slow inventory of what is missing, then the sickening certainty that the absence is not temporary. Where's our furniture? It's gone. I can see that. We've been robbed. The repetition of the word robbed is almost liturgical. Anne says it, Barbara says it, and each repetition strips another layer of denial. I have always been struck by how little the camera needs to show. The emptiness itself becomes the performance. In the late 1970s, the set designers understood something that later television often forgot, that the most frightening image is not a masked intruder but a familiar room stripped of its familiar objects. The sofa that once held the family's weight, the easy chair that remembered the shape of a body, the trunk that contained the family photo album, these things are gone, and with them goes the quiet continuity that makes a place feel like home. Schneider's presence in the bedroom is the first comic rupture, and yet it is never purely comic. He is trying to surprise them by shampooing the rugs. The explanation is so earnest, so characteristically Schneider, that for a moment the mind wants to accept it. Of course the furniture is merely piled in the bedroom. Of course there is a simple explanation. I have known men like Schneider all my life, men who perform usefulness as a way of remaining inside a family that is not quite theirs. Their competence is real, but it is also a form of pleading. Let me stay, let me be necessary. When the truth arrives that the upholstery people were thieves, that Schneider himself guided the couch through the door, the pleading collapses into something more painful. He did not merely fail to protect the apartment, he participated in its violation with his own hands. The complimentary potholder is the detail that still undoes me. They gave him a potholder. The smallness of the gift, the cheerful absurdity of it crystallizes the entire con. Professional thieves who understand that the appearance of legitimacy is more persuasive than force. Uniforms with big zippers. A written authorization. A free kitchen item. I once watched my own mother accept a free calendar from a man who later proved to be selling fraudulent home security systems. The calendar hung on the refrigerator for months after we learned the truth, a small paper monument to how easily trust can be manufactured. Schneider holding out the potholder is the same gesture. Here, take this. Everything is fine, the world is still ordered. Barbara's voice when she says, "Mom, they took everything, the silver, everything," carries a particular frequency of panic that I recognize from my own adolescence. It is the sound of a young person discovering that the adult world is not merely imperfect but actively predatory. The silver matters because it is both valuable and intimate. It has been handled by the family at holidays. It has been polished. It carries the residue of ordinary life. When it disappears, the disappearance feels personal in a way that the loss of a sofa does not. I think of the silverware in my grandmother's house, each piece monogrammed, each piece carrying the quiet authority of continuity. To lose such objects is to lose a form of proof that the past once existed in material form. Anne's physical reaction, the sudden nausea, the admission that she feels sick, is one of the most honest moments the series ever allowed itself in its early seasons. Sitcoms of that era preferred verbal sparring to bodily vulnerability. Yet here the body registers the violation before the mind can organize it into jokes. I have felt that same nausea in the aftermath of lesser invasions: a wallet stolen on a train, a car broken into, a letter read without permission. The body knows first. The stomach drops, the throat tightens. The mind follows later, constructing narratives of resilience or humor. Anne's "OOG, I feel sick" is the sound of the body speaking before the comic timing can intervene. What stays with me most is the way the empty apartment becomes a character in its own right. The rooms do not merely lack furniture, they actively accuse. Every bare wall, every unoccupied rectangle of floor space is a reminder that the boundary between public and private has been breached. In the cultural imagination of the late 1970s, the home was still supposed to be a fortress against the disorder of the larger world. The energy crisis, the lingering distrust after Watergate, the economic uncertainties, all of these made the idea of a safe domestic interior more precious and more fragile. When that interior is violated, the violation feels larger than the loss of objects. It feels like a confirmation of a broader national unease. I remember sitting in my own childhood living room and feeling for the first time that the walls around me were permeable. The television had shown me an empty apartment, and suddenly my own apartment felt less secure. My mother noticed the shift in my posture and asked if I was cold. I was not cold. I was beginning to understand that safety is not a permanent condition but a temporary arrangement that can be revoked without notice. That understanding has never entirely left me. Even now, when I return to an empty house after travel, I perform a quiet inventory. Are the chairs where I left them? Is the silver still in the drawer? The ritual is not rational. It is the residue of watching Anne and Barbara step into a space that no longer recognized them as its rightful inhabitants. Schneider's insistence that he was only trying to help, that the upholsterers looked legitimate, that he held one end of the couch, is the sound of a man discovering the limits of his own competence. He has built his identity on being the person who fixes things, who anticipates needs, who remains useful. The robbery exposes the hollowness of that identity. Usefulness is not the same as protection. Presence is not the same as vigilance. I have known the same collapse in myself, moments when the performance of capability was revealed as insufficient against forces that do not care about good intentions. The potholder becomes a kind of scarlet letter. Every time Schneider looks at it, he is reminded that he was not merely fooled, he was enlisted. The scene in which Anne tries to report the robbery and is placed on hold is pure 1970s bureaucratic comedy, yet it also carries a quieter despair. The system that is supposed to restore order is itself disordered. Crimes in progress take precedence. The officer arrives late because he stopped for a candy bar and was caught in a hold-up of his own. The joke about the Milky Way deflecting a bullet is broad, almost vaudevillian. But underneath it is the recognition that even the agents of order are vulnerable, distracted human. The world is When Officer Preston finally arrives and begins to take the inventory, the conversation about identifying marks on the furniture becomes strangely intimate: the pinkish-brown ice cream stain from a food fight, the bright red blob of Tahitian Temptation nail polish purchased after the divorce. These are not serial numbers. They are the residue of lived life. The sofa is not merely an object, it is a document of the family's private history. The nail polish mark is especially piercing. It dates the sofa to the period after Anne's marriage ended, a time of new autonomy and new vulnerability. The thieves have stolen not only furniture but evidence of a woman's attempt to rebuild a self. I have always been moved by the quiet hierarchy of loss that emerges in these early scenes. The furniture can be replaced, at least in theory. The photo album cannot. They've stolen our memories. The line is simple, almost sentimental, yet it names the deepest wound. Photographs are the material form of continuity. They prove that certain people once existed in certain configurations of affection. When they disappear, the past becomes less solid. I still keep physical albums for this reason, even in an age of digital abundance. The weight of the pages, the slight chemical smell of old prints, the handwritten dates in the margins, these things resist the frictionless disappearance that digital life makes possible. Anne's grief over the album is the grief of someone who understands that memory requires anchors. The empty apartment at the end of these opening movements is not merely a set waiting to be dressed again. It is a space that has been permanently altered. Even when new furniture arrives, even when the insurance check is cashed, the knowledge of the violation remains. The rooms will always carry the memory of their own emptiness. I have lived in such rooms. After a break-in years ago, I repainted the walls and rearranged the furniture. Yet for months I would wake in the night and listen for the sound of unfamiliar footsteps. The body remembers what the mind tries to overwrite. What the series understands and what this sequence makes visceral is that domestic safety is not a given. It is a daily negotiation with forces that do not respect the soft boundaries of private life. The fake upholsterers succeed because they understand the social codes of legitimacy: uniforms, paperwork, cheerful competence. They exploit the very trust that makes communal life possible. Schneider's participation is not a moral failing so much as a demonstration of how thoroughly that trust can be weaponized. He wanted to be helpful. He was helpful. The help was catastrophic. I return to the moment when Anne first realizes the full scope of the loss. The silver, the trunk, the photo album, the cumulative weight of ordinary objects that together constituted a life. There is no swelling music. There is no speech about resilience. There is only the quiet admission of nausea and the beginning of the long work of reckoning. In that restraint I find the series at its most honest. It does not rush to reassure, it allows the fracture to remain visible. The apartment is empty. The safety has been broken. Everything that follows will be an attempt to live inside the knowledge of that breakage. I still feel the cool air of that empty room when I think of it. I still hear the slightly too bright tone in Anne's voice as she tries to convert shock into observation. I still see Schneider holding the potholder like a man offering a small useless penance. These images have become part of my own interior furniture. They sit alongside memories of real rooms that were once violated, real objects that once disappeared. Real moments when the boundary between safety and exposure proved thinner than anyone wanted to admit. The series did not invent that thinness, it simply refused to look away from it. And in the refusal, it gave the emptiness a voice that continues to speak decades later in the quiet of other rooms that are for the moment still full. I have never been able to watch Schneider guide that couch through the doorway without feeling a corresponding pressure in my own chest. The image is simple: two men in uniforms, a third man who belongs to the building, the long awkward bulk of a sofa being angled carefully past the frame, yet it carries a moral weight that far exceeds its physical comedy. Schneider is not merely fooled. He is enlisted. His hands are on the furniture. His body is lending strength to the removal. The betrayal is not intentional, which only makes it more devastating. Intentional betrayal can be understood as choice. Unwitting betrayal reveals how easily the desire to be useful can be turned into an instrument of harm. I knew a man like Schneider when I was young. He was the superintendent of the building where my aunt lived, a man who carried a ring of keys that seemed to open every door in the neighborhood and who spoke of tenants with the proprietary affection of someone who had decided that usefulness was the same thing as belonging. He fixed radiators at midnight. He received packages. He remembered birthdays. When a pair of men in work clothes arrived one afternoon with a clipboard and a story about inspecting the wiring, he let them into 3 apartments before anyone thought to question the paperwork. Nothing of great value was taken, only a few small appliances and some jewelry, but the shame that settled on him afterward was out of proportion to the loss. He had wanted to help. He had helped the wrong people. For months afterward he moved through the halls with a new caution. As if every request for assistance might be another trap. I see that same caution beginning to form in Schneider the moment the truth becomes undeniable. The uniforms matter more than the script explicitly states. They are not elaborate costumes. They are the ordinary language of legitimacy in a working-class building in the late 1970s. Heavy fabric, visible zippers, the suggestion of a company name that no one quite reads. In an era when service workers still arrived in recognizable garb, the uniform functioned as a kind of social passport. It said, "We have a right to be here. We have been authorized." Schneider, whose entire identity rests on recognizing and facilitating authorized presence, accepts the passport without demanding further proof. I think of how many times I have done the same, accepted a clipboard, a logo, a confident tone, because questioning would have required me to interrupt the smooth flow of competence that I myself try to perform. The desire to keep things running smoothly is itself a vulnerability. When Schneider says he signed the pickup slip, the detail lands with particular force. A signature is a small act of faith. It converts a verbal claim into a written record. It says, I believe this transaction is real. I have signed documents I later regretted, not because I was deceived about large matters, but because the moment of signing felt ordinary and therefore safe. The ordinary is the most effective disguise. The thieves understand this. They do not brandish weapons. They brandish paperwork and cheerfulness and the free gift of a potholder. The potholder is the masterstroke. It is too small to be a bribe and too specific to be accidental. It converts the interaction into something almost domestic, almost neighborly. Here, take this. We are the kind of people who give kitchen items. We belong in your world. Schneider's physical participation, the holding of one end of the couch, the guiding through the door, transforms the scene from deception into collaboration. He becomes, in the most literal sense, an accessory. The body does not know it is collaborating. The body only knows that a heavy object needs to be moved and that another person is sharing the weight. There is an intimacy in shared physical labor that short-circuits suspicion. I have felt that intimacy myself, the temporary comradeship that forms when two people lift something awkward together. The mind relaxes its vigilance because the body is occupied. By the time the couch is on the truck, the opportunity for doubt has already passed. The moment of revelation is staged with a cruelty that the sitcom format rarely allows itself. Schneider offers the simple explanation: first, the furniture is piled in the bedroom. He is still protecting the narrative in which he remains competent. When that narrative collapses, the collapse is total. You help them rob us. The line is spoken more than once, and each repetition drives the point deeper. There is no way to soften it. Help was given. The help was catastrophic. I have sat with people after similar collapses, after the trusted contractor disappeared with the deposit, after the charming relative borrowed money that was never returned, and watched the same sequence of expressions move across their faces: disbelief, self-reproach, the frantic search for the moment when they should have known. Schneider's face, though the script does not describe, it must pass through all of those stages in a few seconds. What makes the betrayal especially painful is that it is rooted in Schneider's best qualities. He wants to be of service. He wants the apartment to be ready and pleasant when the family returns. He wants to surprise them with clean rugs. The desire to give pleasure, to anticipate need, to remain indispensable. These are the very traits that make him lovable, and they are the traits that the thieves exploit. I have watched people weaponize the generosity of others all my life. The kind person is told a story that requires kindness. The competent person is given a task that requires competence. The lonely person is offered a temporary sense of inclusion. Schneider is all three at once. His loneliness is never stated outright in these early scenes, yet it saturates every gesture. A man who lives alone in a basement apartment, who measures his worth by the number of problems he can solve for other people, is uniquely vulnerable to any interaction that allows him to feel necessary. The complimentary potholder becomes a kind of relic of the failure. Schneider offers it to Anne as if the small object might still redeem the larger loss. The gesture is almost childlike. Look, they gave me this. Perhaps everything is not as bad as it seems. I once kept a free pen from a bank that later mishandled my account, not because I valued the pen but because throwing it away would have required me to acknowledge the full extent of the mismanagement. Objects absorb the emotional residue of the transactions that produce them. The potholder is no longer a kitchen tool, it is evidence. It is a reminder. It is the physical form of Schneider's humiliation. There is a particular cruelty in the fact that Schneider is the one who sees the thieves most clearly and still fails to recognize them. He can describe them later with surprising precision: the taller one's height and build, the mole on the cheek, the shorter one's approximate weight, the filtered cigarettes, the fact that one of them was a woman. The observational skill is real. What fails is the interpretive frame. He sees details but cannot assemble them into a narrative of danger because the narrative of legitimacy has already taken hold. I have made the same error. I have noticed inconsistencies and explained them away because the alternative explanation would have required me to disrupt a social interaction that was proceeding smoothly. Smoothness is its own form of coercion. When Schneider finally admits that he helped only with the heavy stuff, the qualification is both comic and heartbreaking. It is an attempt to limit the damage to carve out a smaller area of responsibility. I only held the couch. I did not carry the silver. I did not take the photo album. The mind reaches for degrees of culpability even when the outcome is the same. The furniture is gone, the boundary has been crossed, the degree of participation does not restore what was lost. I have heard similar qualifications from people who signed documents they did not fully read, who introduced friends to people who later caused harm, who opened doors that should have remained closed. The impulse to minimize is human, it is also useless. The deeper wound is the damage to Schneider's sense of himself as a protector. In the ecology of the building, he occupies a unique position. He is not family, yet he is more intimate than a stranger. He has keys. He has access. He is trusted with the knowledge of when people are away. That trust is the foundation of his identity. When the trust is used against the very people who granted it, the foundation cracks. I think of the superintendent from my aunt's building again. How he began to second-guess every request after the incident with the clipboard. He still fixed things, but the joy had gone out of the fixing. Competence without the accompanying sense of righteousness becomes mere labor. Schneider is not yet at that stage in these scenes, but the trajectory is visible. The cheerful helper has been shown the limits of cheerfulness. There is also a gendered dimension to the betrayal that the series handles with surprising subtlety. Schneider is a man who performs a kind of domestic masculinity, fixing, maintaining, protecting the soft interior of other people's homes. When that performance fails, the failure feels like a failure of manhood itself. He was supposed to be the one who notices when something is wrong. He was supposed to be the barrier between the family and the predatory world outside. Instead, he became the conduit. The shame is not only about being fooled, it is about failing at the one role that gives his life structure and meaning. I return often to the image of Schneider holding one end of the couch. The physicality of it stays with me. The strain in the arms, the careful negotiation of the doorframe, the small collaborative adjustments that two people make when moving something heavy together. In that moment, he is not a fool. He is a man doing what men like him are taught to do, help with the heavy lifting. The cultural script is so powerful that it overrides the quieter signals of wrongness. I have overridden those signals myself. The desire to be the person who helps can be stronger than the desire to be the person who questions. That desire is not foolish, it is human. And it is precisely because it is human that it can be exploited so effectively. By the time the full scope of the loss becomes clear, Schneider has already begun the long work of self-reproach. The $300 he later offers, the frantic attempts to recover some of the furniture, the insistence on describing the thieves in exhaustive detail, these are all forms of penance. He is trying to rewrite the story in which he remains the man who fixes things. The story will not be rewritten. The couch is gone. His hands helped remove it. The knowledge of that fact will sit inside him for the rest of the series, a quiet companion to every subsequent act of helpfulness. I carry that knowledge with me as well. Every time I accept a clipboard, every time I hold a door, every time I choose smoothness over suspicion, I feel a faint echo of Schneider's mistake. The echo is not paralyzing. It is instructive. It reminds me that trust is not a single decision but a continuous practice, and that the most dangerous betrayals are the ones that arrive dressed as ordinary assistants. The uniforms were clean. The paperwork looked real. The potholder was free. And the couch. The heavy, familiar ice cream-stained couch went out the door with Schneider's help. The weight of that help is what remains after the laughter fades. It is the weight of a man discovering that his best self can be used against the people he most wants to protect. It is the weight of a signature on a pickup slip. It is the weight of a potholder that will never be used for cooking. It is the weight of trust once given and the long quiet labor of learning how carefully it must be given again. The officer arrives late and the lateness itself becomes part of the injury. 2 hours and 4 minutes, Barbara notes with the precision of someone who has been counting. Time has slowed inside the empty apartment and accelerated outside it. While Anne and Barbara stood among the bare floors inventing explanations that might still save the day, the machinery of response was busy with other emergencies, other candy bars, other holdups. The joke about the Milky Way bar deflecting a bullet is broad, almost vaudevillian. Yet, it carries an undercurrent of institutional fatigue that the series rarely names so directly. Even the people tasked with restoring order are themselves subject to the same chaotic economy of interruption and minor catastrophe. The officer has been shot lightly, absurdly, and the wound has been mitigated by chocolate. The detail is funny. It is also a quiet admission that the systems meant to protect ordinary lives are themselves frayed, underfed, and running on sugar and luck. I have waited for official help in rooms that felt similarly suspended. Once, after a break-in in a city apartment years ago, I sat on a low stool that had been overlooked by the thieves and listened to the dispatcher's hold music cycle through the same 4 bars of synthetic calm. The music was meant to reassure. It did the opposite. It announced that my emergency had been placed in a queue, that other people's emergencies were being weighed against mine, that the restoration of my small domestic order would have to wait its turn. When the officers finally arrived, they were polite, efficient, and faintly apologetic in the way of people who already know they will not be able to give the victim what the victim actually needs. Officer Preston carries that same quality. He is not unkind. He is simply the visible edge of a system that has already decided how much of this particular loss it can afford to address. The inventory process is an exercise in the insufficiency of language. Serial numbers would have helped. There are none. Identifying marks must serve instead. The pinkish-brown ice cream stain from a food fight between sisters. The bright red blob of Tahitian Temptation nail polish purchased in the raw weeks after Anne's divorce. These are not the kinds of details that appear on police reports in any useful way, yet they are the only details that matter. They convert the sofa from an anonymous object into a document of private history. The stain is evidence of play. The nail polish is evidence of a woman trying to reinvent her surface after a marriage has ended. When Officer Preston writes them down, he is performing a kind of translation that everyone present understands is inadequate. The official record will never carry the full weight of what has been taken. I think often of the way my own mother inventoried losses. After a flood in the basement of the house I grew up in, she moved through the ruined boxes with a yellow legal pad, writing down not just the names of objects but the circumstances of their acquisition. The platter from the first apartment. The winter coats bought on sale the year the furnace failed. The act of listing was less about insurance than about insisting that the objects had possessed specific lives. Anne's description of the nail polish carries the same insistence. She is not merely identifying a cushion, she is refusing to let the sofa become generic. Even in the midst of violation, she is still the archivist of her own ordinary days. The conversation about the market for stolen goods lands with a particular chill. Officer Preston explains almost casually that there are hundreds of people buying and selling stolen merchandise all over town at flea markets and elsewhere. The information is offered as reassurance. There is a system, however, shadowy, in which the objects continue to circulate, but it functions as the opposite. The domestic interior has not simply been emptied, it has been fed into a larger economy of redistribution that operates beyond the reach of ordinary recovery. The family photo album is the clearest casualty of that economy. Personal items, the officer says, tend to be thrown into the nearest trash can. The thieves want the trunk, not the memories it contains. The distinction is practical for them and devastating for the people left behind. Memories require material anchors. When the anchors are discarded, the memories become harder to hold. Schneider's detailed description of the thieves is both comic and strangely moving. He has prepared. He has anticipated the request. The taller one, approximately 5 feet 10 rangy, 155 pounds, brown eyes, brown hair, Small mole on the left cheek, probably Catholic because he said Mother of Mercy when lifting the couch. The shorter one 5 feet 6 3/4 between 130 and 132 pounds filtered cigarettes. And then the revelation that the shorter one was a woman withheld at first for fear of being called sexist. The precision is impressive and useless in equal measure. It is the precision of a man trying to convert his failure into usefulness after the fact. If he can describe them well enough, perhaps the description will count as a form of repair. I have made similar lists after my own failures, cataloging the warning signs I missed, the questions I failed to ask, as if the quality of the retrospective inventory could undo the original lapse. It never does. But the impulse remains. The insurance adjuster arrives later, young, slightly overwhelmed on his first case, Dewey Lawton. Even the name feels provisional, as if the character himself has not yet decided how much authority he is allowed to claim. The negotiation over value quickly becomes a study in the gap between sentimental worth and institutional limits. The family begins in honesty. The furniture was old, not particularly expensive, and then under the pressure of loss and the temptation of recovery, drifts toward inflation. Daniel Charpendale. Solid walnut frame. Thick brocade. 9,000. 10,000. 10,500. Anne's resistance to the inflation is quieter than Barbara's enthusiasm, but no less palpable. She does not want to cheat. She also does not want to leave money on the table when the policy maximum is already far below the emotional cost of what has been taken. The tension is familiar to anyone who has ever filed a claim. Honesty feels like a luxury that the injured party can scarcely afford, yet dishonesty corrodes the very sense of self that the recovery is meant to restore. The revelation that the policy maximum is $3,500 arrives like a second robbery. The number is so much smaller than the inflated estimates that it renders the entire negotiation absurd. Anne's quiet admission that she threw away the notices about upgrading the policy after peeling off the stamps is one of the most precisely observed moments of working-class financial life the series ever offered. The stamps mattered. The extra premium did not seem worth it at the time. Now the decision sits in the room like another piece of missing furniture. I have made the same calculations. The slightly higher deductible. The coverage that seemed adequate until the day it was tested. The quiet shame of realizing that one's own earlier frugality has become a form of self-sabotage. Anne does not dramatize the realization. She simply absorbs it, another fact among the many facts that will have to be lived with. Schneider's $300 delivered in the form of a forged letter from the governor of Utah belongs to a different economy of repair. It is not insurance money. It is guilt money. It is the only currency Schneider knows how to offer. The letter itself is a small masterpiece of comic desperation, lined notebook paper, the preposterous claim of elevation from beggar to governor, the closing insistence that the recipient never forget the good turn that made the transformation possible. Schneider needs the family to accept the money so that he can continue to believe that amends are possible. The family's decision to return half of it is both kind and firm. They will not allow his guilt to become another burden they must carry. The negotiation over the $300 is in its way more intimate than the negotiation with the insurance company. It is a negotiation about how much of another person's shame one is willing to underwrite. The eventual recovery of some of the furniture at the River Drive flea market provides the bitter comedy promised by the title of this movement. The objects return, but they return altered by their journey through the secondary market. They have been handled by strangers. They have sat under fluorescent lights among other people's discarded lives. When Schneider and the officer present the recovered pieces, the triumph is real and incomplete. Some things are back, many things are not. The photo album remains missing, the silver remains missing, the sense of inviolability remains missing. Partial recovery is its own form of torment because it forces a constant measurement of what has been restored against what is still gone. I have experienced partial recovery. A wallet returned without the cash. A stolen bicycle recovered without the seat bag that held the keys. Each restored object becomes a reminder of the ones that were not restored. The mind cannot simply celebrate the return. It must also inventory the continuing absence. In the apartment, the presence of the recovered furniture only sharpens the outlines of the empty spaces that remain. The new pieces bought with the insurance check will eventually fill those spaces, but they will not erase the knowledge that the original arrangement was broken and could not be fully mended. The insurance check itself arrives with a timing that feels almost theatrical. Just as the family is beginning to furnish the office and the apartment anew, the money appears, enabling a version of recovery that is also a form of reinvention. They will not restore the old apartment. They will build something slightly different, slightly more intentional under the pressure of necessity. There is a stubborn vitality in that choice. If they are going to go broke, they might as well do it in style. The line is comic. It is also a declaration of agency inside a situation that has offered very little of it. The robbery took objects. It did not take the capacity to decide what comes next. Yet even this agency is shadowed by the earlier compromises. The inflated estimates. The policy that was never upgraded. The stamps that were peeled off and saved. The $300 that had to be half returned so that Schneider could keep living with himself. Every stage of the institutional response has required the family to participate in small distortions of truth or small negotiations of pride. By the time the new furniture is arranged and the insurance check is deposited, the original violation has been joined by a secondary layer of moral and bureaucratic complication. The apartment is no longer simply a place that was robbed. It is a place that has been processed by systems that extract their own costs. I return to Officer Preston asking for the elevator to Dewey Lawton, asking for the same elevator to the repeated small journeys out of the apartment and back into the larger world of corridors and buttons and descending cars. The elevator becomes a kind of threshold between the private site of loss and the public machinery of response. Each time a man from that machinery leaves, he takes with him another piece of the story, translated into the language of reports and claim numbers and policy limits. What he cannot take is the nausea that Anne felt in the first moments, or the particular frequency of Barbara's panic, or the quiet shame that has settled into Schneider's posture. Those things remain in the room. They are not covered by the policy. They do not appear on the inventory. They are the part of the loss that partial recovery cannot touch. The bitter comedy of the entire sequence lies in the gap between what the systems can restore and what the people actually need. The police can take a report. The insurance company can issue a check up to a predetermined maximum. The flea market can yield a few recognizable objects. None of these mechanisms can restore the feeling of safety that existed before the door was opened by strangers with uniforms and a story. That feeling is not an object. It cannot be listed, claimed, or recovered at a secondary market. It can only be lived past slowly, in the same rooms that once contained it, among the new objects that will never quite be the old ones. I still feel the particular texture of that bitterness when I think of these scenes. It is the bitterness of forms filled out in good faith, of maximums that arrive as revelations, of recovered couches that only emphasize the missing album. It is the bitterness of realizing that the world possesses orderly procedures for processing disorder, and that those procedures are themselves a kind of order that does not necessarily include justice. The family will go on. The apartment will fill again. The laughter will return. But the knowledge of the gap remains quiet and persistent, like the faint outline of a stain that no longer exists on a cushion that no longer sits in the room. The furniture returns from the River Drive flea market like a set of ghosts that have forgotten the names of the people who once lived with them. They are recognizable and yet altered, carrying the faint, impersonal residue of having sat under fluorescent lights among strangers' discarded lamps and chipped serving platters. When Schneider and the officer bring them back, the triumph is real, but it is a triumph that immediately begins to curdle. Some things have been found. The finding only sharpens the outline of everything that has not. I have never been able to watch this sequence without feeling the peculiar ache that accompanies partial restoration. The objects are home. And home is no longer the place they left. I once recovered a box of letters that had been missing for 2 years after a move. The box had sat in a storage unit that changed hands twice, and when it finally came back to me, the paper smelled of dust and other people's winters. The words on the pages were unchanged. The hands that had held them in the interval were not. Something in the material had been rewritten by the simple fact of having been elsewhere. The recovered couch in the Romano apartment carries the same subtle contamination. It has been touched by people who did not know the ice cream stain's origin. It has been priced by someone who saw only upholstery and frame. It has been offered for sale under a different sky. When it re-enters the apartment, it brings those anonymous hands with it, and the room must make space for them. Schneider's pride in the recovery is almost painful to witness. He has taken turns with the officer hauling the pieces out. He has performed the labor of redemption with his own body. The gesture is consistent with everything we already know about him. If he cannot undo the original failure, he will at least be the one who carries the heavy end of the correction. I recognize the impulse. After my own failures, I have driven across towns to retrieve small objects that did not need retrieving, simply so that my hands could be seen doing something useful in the aftermath. The usefulness is real. It is also a way of asking the world to look at the correction rather than the mistake. Schneider stands in the apartment beside the recovered pieces, and waits not quite openly for the family to receive his effort as a form of absolution. They do and they do not. Gratitude and residual injury can occupy the same breath. The photo album remains missing. That single absence organizes all the others. Furniture can be sat upon again, a trunk can be replaced. But the album held the faces in their earlier arrangements, the holidays, the birthdays, the ordinary afternoons that no one thought to photograph twice. Officer Preston's earlier prediction that personal items are usually thrown into the nearest trash can sits over the recovery like a second ceiling, somewhere perhaps. The album has already been rained on, or landfilled or burned. Somewhere the material form of the family's continuity has been treated as trash because it lacked resale value. The knowledge is unbearable precisely because it is so ordinary. Thieves do not pause to consider the difference between a sofa and a set of faces. The market does not price memory. What cannot be sold is discarded, and what is discarded becomes unrecoverable in a way that money cannot touch. I think of the albums my own family kept in a hall closet, the ones with the yellowing magnetic pages that slowly released their hold on the prints. We told ourselves we would digitize them someday. We did not. When the basement flooded, several of those albums took the water first. The images curled and fused. Some could be peeled apart, most could not. For months afterward, I would dream of the lost photographs, not the important ones, the weddings and graduations, but the trivial ones. My mother squinting in a backyard, a dog that died when I was 9, a Christmas tree whose decorations I could no longer name. The trivial images were the ones that hurt most because they were the ones no one else would ever recreate. The Romano photo album contains the same category of irreplaceable ordinary. Its loss is not dramatic, it is simply final. The tension that arises once the recovered pieces are back in the apartment is one of the series' quietest and most accurate observations about class and recovery. The family has already begun to furnish anew with the insurance money. New desk, new wallpaper, the beginnings of an aesthetic that is slightly more intentional than what was taken. The recovered objects arrive like emissaries from a previous life that the new life has already started to leave behind. Schneider, ever the guardian of the old order, suggests that the new pieces are a little too avant-garde and offers to help carry them out again. The offer is comic. It is also a form of mourning. He wants the apartment to look the way it looked when he still believed he could protect it. The new furniture is evidence that the protection failed and that life continued anyway. Some people cannot bear that kind of evidence. Anne and Barbara's refusal to surrender the new pieces is not simple attachment to novelty. It is an assertion that the robbery will not be allowed to dictate the terms of the future. If they are going to live with the knowledge of violation, they will at least choose the colors of the rooms in which that knowledge must be carried. I have made the same choice in smaller registers. After the basement flood, I did not replace the lost albums with identical ones. I bought new blank books and began again differently. The decision felt disloyal at first, as if I were abandoning the drowned images a second time. Gradually, it came to feel like the only loyalty still available, the loyalty of continuing. The Romano family standing among the mixed population of recovered and newly purchased objects is learning the same difficult arithmetic. The brief auction that breaks out Schneider offering $25, the price dropping in a parody of competitive bidding, is a release valve for feelings that have nowhere else to go. Laughter becomes the method by which the family metabolizes the absurdity of valuing what has already been stolen and returned and partially replaced. Barbara's skill at driving the price down is praised as a remnant of her Girl Scout training, and the praise itself is a way of inserting a remembered competence into a situation defined by helplessness. We do this. We reach for old versions of ourselves when the current version has been made to feel inadequate. The Girl Scout who once sold cookies door to door becomes for a moment the woman who can still control a transaction. The control is illusory. It is also necessary. What the flea market scenes ultimately reveal is the strange afterlife of objects once they have been separated from their original owners. At the market, the couch was simply inventory. Its stain was a flaw that lowered the price rather than a story that raised its value. Its nail polish mark was damage, not dating. The translation from domestic meaning to market value is brutal and complete. When the object returns, it brings both languages with it. It is once again the couch on which the family fought with ice cream, and it is also the couch that someone else considered buying for a fraction of its sentimental worth. The double identity never fully resolves. I still own a few pieces that have survived similar journeys, furniture that sat in other rooms between the time it left me and the time it came back. I use them. I cannot quite trust them. They have seen me from the outside. Schneider's need to be the agent of recovery is inseparable from his earlier need to be the agent of helpfulness. Both needs arise from the same fear that without visible utility he will have no legitimate place in the family's life. The flea market expedition is his attempt to rewrite the narrative of the robbery so that it ends with his competence rather than his gullibility. The attempt is only partially successful, which is to say it is human. Partial success is the only kind most of us are ever offered. He brings back some of the furniture. He cannot bring back the album. He cannot bring back the feeling of safety. He cannot bring back the version of himself that had not yet held one end of the couch while thieves took the other. Those things remain outside the transaction. I return often to the image of the recovered pieces standing in the apartment among the new ones. The room becomes a temporary museum of two different futures, the future that would have existed if the robbery had never happened and the future that is being built because it did. Neither future is pure. The recovered objects are tainted by their absence. The new objects are shadowed by the violence that made them necessary. The family must live in the mixed display, sitting on ghosts and on replacements, telling stories about stains that may or may not still be visible under new light. There is no clean ending available. There is only the ongoing work of inhabiting a space that has been forced to remember its own violation. The stolen memories do not return. That is the fact that organizes all the others. Everything else, the couch, the insurance check, the new desk, the half-returned $300, exists downstream of that single permanent loss. The album's absence is the hole around which the rest of the recovery must arrange itself. I have arranged my own life around similar holes. We all have. The difference is that most of the time the holes are private. The series, for a few clear-eyed minutes, allows the hole to remain visible in the middle of the living room, uncarpeted and unnamed, while people try to decide which pieces of furniture still belong in the space that surrounds it. In the end, the flea market ghosts are not only the recovered objects, they are also the versions of the family that existed before the door was opened by strangers. The versions that believed the apartment was a closed system. The versions that had not yet learned how quickly the ordinary can be translated into inventory and then with luck and timing translated partially back. Those earlier versions do not return either. They remain outside, like the album, like the silver, like the particular quality of light that once fell across a room that had never been emptied. What remains is the mixed furniture, the ongoing laughter, and the quiet, persistent knowledge that some absences cannot be filled, only carried. Catherine enters the apartment carrying her grief the way some women carry an aging purse close to the body, rarely set down, its weight so familiar that she has stopped noticing how it pulls at one shoulder. 6 months have passed since Michael died, and the calendar has done nothing to lighten the load. She has not resumed the old habits of correction and commentary that once organized the family's days. She does not tell them how to run their lives. She does not laugh. She speaks when spoken to, and even then the words seem to travel a long distance before they reach her mouth. The silence is not dramatic. It is worse than dramatic. It is ordinary, persistent, and almost polite, as if she does not wish to inconvenience anyone with the full scale of what is missing. I have lived with this kind of silence. My own grandmother, after the death of the man she had been married to for 51 years, developed a similar economy of speech. She would answer questions. She would acknowledge the weather. She would not initiate. The house around her continued its small noises, the refrigerator cycling on the clock on the mantel advancing its hands, but she herself seemed to have stepped half a pace outside the audible world. Watching Catherine, I feel again the particular helplessness of being a younger person in the presence of a grief that does not perform itself for the comfort of others. There are no storms to weather, only the long even drought. The detail about the dust on the coffee table is one of the series' most precise observations about the texture of mourning. Anne and Barbara speculate that Catherine might be drawn out of her silence by the discovery of dust because she once loved to find it and name it as evidence of insufficient housekeeping. The speculation is tender and slightly desperate. They are trying to locate the old version of her inside the present one, the version that still cared enough about surfaces to be irritated by them. Dust becomes a hoped-for trigger, a small domestic provocation that might restart the engine of her personality. I have performed similar experiments. I have left a cupboard door open or a towel folded the wrong way in the hope that the familiar irritation would call the familiar person back. Sometimes it worked for a moment. Most of the time the new silence simply absorbed the provocation and remained. Catherine's will, produced with the matter-of-factness of someone offering a spare key, is the object that most clearly measures the distance she has traveled, a rubber stamp that reads deceased. She has thought about the practical aftermath of her own death with a clarity that the living usually postpone. The stamp will make it simpler for Anne to hand the bills in the mail. The gesture is practical, loving, and quietly annihilating. It announces that she has already begun to imagine the world without her presence in it, and that the imagining has not produced terror so much as a desire to reduce the administrative burden on those who will remain. I remember the afternoon my grandmother showed me where she kept the deeds and the insurance policies. She did not cry. She simply wanted me to know which drawer. The calm of the instruction was harder to bear than weeping would have been. Catherine's stamp carries the same calm. It is the stationery of someone who has stopped arguing with the inevitable. When she offers Anne the jewelry box, the scene tightens into something almost unbearable. "You always said you loved it." The sentence is both gift and test. She is checking whether the old affections still hold, whether the objects that once mediated love between mother and daughter still have the power to do so. Anne's response is careful, affirmative, and incomplete. She does love it. She also cannot quite meet the full weight of what is being offered: the jewelry box, the history it contains, the mother who is already distributing her future absence in the form of possessions. The push and pull over whether the jewelry is inside the box, the mild scolding about being pushy, the sudden swerve into accusation against the dead husband for leaving her like this, all of it unfolds with the jagged logic of real grief. One moment is practical, the next is raw. The next is a return to the practical because the raw cannot be sustained in company. The accusation against Michael is the moment when the silence cracks enough to let the anger through. "I will never forgive your father for leaving me like this." The complaint is irrational and completely true. People do not die in order to abandon their spouses, yet the abandonment is the effect, and the effect does not care about intention. Catherine reaches for the nearest available target, the blue-haired woman she still half believes was a rival, and then for the larger target of death itself. The series allows her the irrationality without correcting it. No one explains that Michael did not choose to die. The explanation would be accurate and useless. What she needs is not accuracy. What she needs is the husband who is no longer there to receive the complaint. I have heard this same complaint in different kitchens. The widow who cannot forgive the dead man for the timing of his heart attack. The widower who is furious at the wife for not having insisted on a second opinion. The anger is a form of continued relationship. As long as there is someone to blame, the relationship has not entirely ended. When the anger finally exhausts itself, what remains is often the colder and more difficult recognition that there is no longer a person left to be angry at. Catherine is still in the earlier stage. The blue-haired woman still has the power to wound. Michael still has the power to be unforgiven. The persistence of these powers is a measure of how thoroughly he remains present in his absence. Her refusal to be cheered up is consistent and almost principled. When Schneider proposes the white elephant sale, when the daughters propose dust and new furniture as possible stimulants, she answers with the clarity of someone who has taken the measure of her own state and found it non-negotiable. I won't have a good time. The sentence is not a prediction. It is a boundary. She will go eventually because Schneider threatens to carry her, but she will not pretend that the outing is medicine. I have always admired this stubbornness. There is a pressure, especially on older women, to perform recovery at a pace convenient to the people around them. Catherine declines the performance. Her grief will take the time it takes. The family's discomfort with that timeline is their problem to solve. The silence itself has a texture. It is not the silence of someone who has nothing to say. It is the silence of someone whose words have lost their destination. While Michael was alive, even the ordinary remarks about the temperature of the soup, about the way the newspaper had been folded, had a receiver. Now the remarks go out and do not land. After a while, it becomes easier to keep them inside. I watched my grandmother undergo the same gradual retraction. First, she stopped offering opinions about the news. Then, she stopped commenting on the food. Finally, she stopped initiating any conversation that was not strictly required by the logistics of the day. The world had lost its primary audience. Secondary audiences, however, loving could not entirely replace it. Dust becomes in this context more than a housekeeping issue. It is the visible form of time passing without the resistance that a fully inhabited life once offered. Catherine once interrupted that passage. She wiped surfaces. She noticed what had settled. In the months after Michael's death, the dust has been allowed to remain, not through neglect exactly but through a loss of the will to interrupt. When Anne and Barbara imagine putting dust on the coffee table on purpose, they are imagining a way to call the interrupter back. They want the woman who cared about the difference between clean and dusty. They are not yet ready for the woman who has learned that the difference does not matter in the way it once did. The jewelry box, the will, the stamp, the dust, the withheld laughter, all of these are instruments by which Catherine is teaching the family the new shape of her presence. She is still here. She is also elsewhere, occupying a private country whose borders the others cannot cross. The series, to its credit, does not rush to build bridges. It allows the country to remain foreign for as long as it needs to. In a form that usually resolves emotional disturbance within 22 minutes, the refusal to resolve Catherine's grief on schedule feels almost radical. The silence is permitted to be unproductive. It does not have to teach a lesson or reach a turning point before the commercial break. I carry my own version of that silence. There are rooms I enter in which the primary audience is gone and the effort of speaking feels suddenly extravagant. There are surfaces I no longer dust with the old attention because the person who once noticed the dust is no longer there to be pleased or irritated by it. Watching Catherine, I do not feel instructed. I feel accompanied. The accompaniment is not comforting exactly. It is simply true. Grief of this kind does not want company, but it sometimes tolerates the presence of people who are willing to sit inside the same quiet without demanding that the quiet become something else. In the end, Catherine's silence is not an absence of self. It is the self under different conditions in which the ordinary incentives for speech and laughter and correction have been removed. Michael's death has not only taken a husband, it has taken the daily responsive surface against which Catherine's personality once sounded itself. Without that surface, the sounds grow fainter. The series lets us hear the faintness. It does not hurry to turn up the volume. And in that restraint, It offers one of the more honest portraits of later life grief that the American sitcom of its era managed to produce. A portrait made of dust, of a rubber stamp, of a jewelry box offered and only partly received, and of a woman who will go to the white elephant sale if she must, but who will not pretend that any of it feels like living. Schneider decides that Catherine's grief has lasted long enough, and the decision is both arrogant and tender in the way that only his particular brand of intervention can be. He does not ask whether she is ready. He does not wait for a sign. He simply appears with a plan and a threat. She can walk out of the apartment on her own steam, or he can pick her up and carry her, hernia or no hernia. The choice is not much of a choice. It is the kind of force that people sometimes apply when they can no longer bear to watch someone they care about remain inside a private darkness. I have applied versions of it myself. I have also been the recipient. Neither position is comfortable. Both are sometimes necessary. The white elephant sale at the lodge is the chosen instrument. It is not a subtle instrument. There will be beer. There will be other people's discarded objects. There will be the noisy, slightly tipsy camaraderie of men and women who have come to trade their unwanted things and in the process to remember that they still exist in a public world. Schneider understands the chemistry of such events the way some people understand the chemistry of kitchens. He knows that grief can sometimes be interrupted by the simple pressure of other bodies moving through the same space, by the obligation to respond to ordinary questions, by the minor adrenaline of a bargain spotted or a mechanical bull mounted on a dare. Whether the interruption constitutes healing is a different question. Schneider is not thinking about healing in any long-term sense. He is thinking about the immediate problem of a woman who has not laughed in 6 months, and who is, in his presence, beginning to calcify. I once watched an uncle perform a similar extraction on my grandmother. He arrived on a Sunday, announced that the house was too quiet, and drove her to a church bazaar against her muttered objections. She sat in the passenger seat with her purse on her lap like a shield. At the bazaar, she spoke when spoken to and bought nothing. On the drive home, she said, "Well, that's done." The following week, she returned to the bazaar on her own and bought a set of embroidered handkerchiefs she did not need. The force had been crude. The result was not nothing. Schneider's methods are cruder, still he is willing to risk the hernia, but they arise from the same impatient love. He cannot stand the silence. He will fill it with noise if he has to. Catherine's concession is pure and unadorned. She will go. She will not have a good time. The sentence is a boundary she intends to maintain. I admire the clarity. So many people, when pressed into participation, agree to perform enjoyment for the sake of the person who pressed them. Catherine refuses the performance in advance. Whatever happens at the sale will not be allowed to rewrite the official record of her grief. She is still a widow. The day will not change that fact. The stubbornness is a form of fidelity to Michael and to the scale of the loss. To admit a good time too quickly would be to suggest that the loss was smaller than she has claimed. What happens instead is a kind of temporary possession. The reports that come back are almost mythological in their excess. She was loved at the lodge. She was loved at the bowling alley. She was loved at the pizza parlor. She rode a mechanical bull. The image of Catherine, black dress, careful hair, the posture of a woman who has spent 6 months moving as little as possible gripping the mechanical bull while it bucks and turns, is one of the series' great comic terrible visions. It is funny because the contrast is extreme. It is terrible because the extremity reveals how thoroughly she has been living in miniature. The bull does not heal her. It simply proves that the body still contains the capacity for large, ridiculous motion. Sometimes the proof is enough to restart a system that has been running on the lowest possible current. I have seen versions of this transformation in people I love. The parent who has not left the house in weeks is persuaded onto a dance floor at a wedding and for 3 minutes becomes someone younger, louder, less careful. The friend deep in depression agrees to a road trip and spends an afternoon singing to the radio with an abandon that later seems impossible. The moments are real. They are also temporary. They do not cancel the depression or the grief. They simply demonstrate that the self still contains unused rooms. Schneider is a specialist in locating those rooms and forcing the door. His methods are not therapeutic in any modern sense. They are closer to the old folk understanding that a body in motion is less available to its own sorrow. The Arthur Godfrey ukulele purchased for 65 cents with a kazoo thrown in becomes the tangible souvenir of the day's possession. Catherine brings it home the way a traveler brings home a shell proof that the other place existed. She has bargained. She has acquired. She has participated in the small acquisitive joy that the sale was designed to produce. The ukulele is not a cure, it is evidence. When she produces it in the apartment late energized, the family is confronted with a version of her they have not seen in half a year. The version is loud. It is a little manic. It is not asking permission to exist. Anne's worry that the night is still young and that Catherine should sit down is the worry of someone who understands that manic energy can be as fragile as silence. The pendulum has swung, it will swing back, the question is how hard. Schneider's pleasure in the success is complicated by his need for it. He has been carrying the guilt of the robbery, the knowledge that his helpfulness once abetted a violation. Restoring Catherine to a semblance of noise and motion is a way of restoring his own sense of efficacy. If he can make the grieving widow ride a mechanical bull, then he is still the man who fixes things. The logic is imperfect and completely human. I have fixed people in order to fix my own sense of usefulness. The repairs are sometimes real, the motives are rarely pure. Schneider's motives are not pure. They are mixed with self-redemption, with loneliness, with the simple inability to sit still inside another person's unhappiness. The mixture does not invalidate the result. Catherine did ride the bull, she did come home talking. For a few hours, the silence was broken. Forced joy is a delicate substance. It can open a window. It can also leave the person who was forced feeling invaded, as if their grief was not respected enough to be left alone. Catherine's later romantic delusion about Schneider cannot be separated from the intensity of the intervention. He appeared in the middle of her darkness with noise and motion and the insistence that she move. He became for a day the agent of her return to the sensory world. It is not surprising that her starved affections suddenly reawakened might misread the agent as the object. People fall in love with their rescuers every day, and the love is often less about the rescuer's specific qualities than about the sheer relief of having been pulled back into circulation. Schneider did not intend to become the object. He intended to be the temporary generator of motion. The distinction is clear to him. It is not yet clear to her. I think of the mechanical bull as the perfect emblem of the entire intervention. It is artificial. It is repetitive. It delivers the sensation of danger without the reality of it. The rider can experience the buck and the spin and then step off onto a stable floor. Grief is not like that. Grief does not end when the motor stops. But for a few minutes the body can be tricked into remembering other possibilities of risk, of laughter, of being looked at by strangers who do not know the story of the dead husband. Schneider specializes in these temporary tricks. He is not a therapist. He is a man with access to a lodge and a mechanical bull and a willingness to look ridiculous in the service of someone else's interrupted life. The day ends with Catherine declaring that Schneider is a miracle worker and that the night is still young. The declaration is expansive, a little drunk on its own momentum and already slightly fragile. Miracle is a large word for a day of beer and bargains and a bull that runs on electricity. Yet, from inside the 6-month silence, any return of volume must feel miraculous. The family receives her at the door, the way people receive survivors, glad, cautious, unsure how much of the transformation will survive the night. Anne's attempt to bring her down gently, to suggest that a mechanical bull and a white elephant sale might be enough for one day, is the attempt of someone who has been watching the pendulum and is already bracing for its return. Swing. What Schneider has actually accomplished is not the end of grief but the insertion of a competing memory. From now on, when Catherine thinks of these months, she will have to include the afternoon she rode the bull. The inclusion does not cancel the loss of Michael. It simply prevents the loss from being the only story the period contains. I have inserted competing memories into my own periods of stuckness, forced outings, obligatory celebrations, trips taken more from duty than desire. Some of them remained duty all the way through. Others opened small windows that stayed open longer than I expected. The windows do not constitute a cure. They constitute evidence that the stuckness is not the only possible state. Sometimes evidence is the most that can be offered. In the apartment that night, with the ukulele on the table and Catherine still vibrating with the day's improbable energy, the silence has been temporarily routed. It will return. Everyone in the room knows it, even if no one says so. Schneider has bought a little time, a little noise, a little proof of residual life. He has done it by force, by comedy, by the strategic application of a mechanical bull. The methods are not elegant, they are effective enough for the night. And in the particular moral universe of this series, effectiveness for the night is sometimes the only measure that matters. Tomorrow, the silence may reclaim its territory. Tonight there is a kazoo and a woman who has remembered how to bargain, and a man who needs to believe that his particular brand of noisy love still has the power to interrupt the dark. The phrase crazy legs leaves Catherine's mouth with the delighted surprise of someone discovering a new room in a house she thought she already knew completely. She repeats it, she laughs at it. She holds it up for her daughters the way a child holds up a bright stone found on the beach. Schneider calls her crazy legs. He loves the way she dances the kinky camel. In the space of a single day that began with a mechanical bull and ended with a ukulele, the grieving widow has been rewritten, at least in her own mind, as a woman who is being courted. The rewrite is so thorough, so sudden and so fragile that watching it feels like watching someone walk out onto ice that has not yet been tested for thickness. I have seen this transformation before, though never staged with quite so much sitcom clarity. After my grandmother's long silence, there was a winter when a widower from her church began driving her to the early service. He was kind. He remembered her coffee order. He waited for her under the covered walkway when it rained. Within 3 weeks she had begun to speak of him with a new frequency, a new brightness around the edges of his name. The family exchanged glances over her head. We did not know whether we were witnessing the beginning of a late companionship or the rebound of a heart that had been compressed too long and was now expanding in any direction that offered the least resistance. With Catherine, the expansion is more dramatic and more public. She does not merely brighten at Schneider's name. She announces that they are in love. She asks for her daughter's blessing. She is already in the private theater of her mind, trying on the sound of Grandpa Schneider. The speed of the delusion is not evidence of shallowness. It is evidence of starvation. For 6 months, the primary audience of her life has been absent. Speech has gone out and not returned. Touch has been limited to the dutiful kind that daughters and granddaughters offer. Suddenly, a man has appeared who not only interrupted the silence but filled it with noise, motion, beer, and the physical comedy of a mechanical bull. He has looked at her and seen something other than a widow. He has given her a nickname that has nothing to do with mourning. In the economy of a starved heart, these gestures can assume the proportions of courtship even when they were intended only as rescue. I have misread rescue as courtship myself. The misreading is rarely about the rescuer's actual intentions, it is about the intensity of the relief. Chip beef on toast becomes the unlikely sacrament of the new romance. Catherine prepares it because Schneider once mentioned that he ate it every day in the Navy SOS shit on a shingle, the joke that men of a certain generation still tell with the same half-ashamed grin. She has listened, she has remembered, she has translated the memory into an offering. The dish itself is humble, institutional, the opposite of seductive, and that is precisely why it carries such weight. She is not trying to impress him with skill. She is trying to feed him the thing he already knows, the thing that connects him to a younger version of himself. In the logic of her delusion, this is intimacy. She has crossed into his history and brought back a plate of it. I remember the first time I cooked a specific unglamorous dish for someone because they had mentioned it in passing years earlier. The dish was not delicious. The pleasure was in the proof of attention. Someone had been listening closely enough to retain a detail that even the speaker had probably forgotten. Catherine's chip beef is that kind of proof. It says, I have been paying attention to you while you were paying attention to my grief. The asymmetry of the attention is part of what makes the moment dangerous. Schneider has been performing rescue. Catherine has been receiving it as love. The plate of chipped beef sits between those two interpretations like a fuse. When she tells Anne and Barbara that she and Schneider are in love, the daughter's reaction is a study in careful panic. They do not laugh in her face. They do not immediately forbid. They try with varying degrees of success to introduce the possibility of proportion. One ride on a mechanical bull, a stomach full of pizza. The loneliness of 6 months. The argument is rational, and therefore almost useless. Delusion of this kind does not traffic in rationality. It traffics in the sudden return of feeling, and feeling does not submit to the calendar or to the number of hours spent in someone's company. Catherine hears their caution as the failure to understand. A woman can tell, she says. The sentence is unanswerable because it rests on private knowledge. She has felt the shift inside her own body. No external accounting of time or circumstance can override that sensation. The nickname Crazy Legs does a particular kind of work. It is playful, slightly sexual, entirely free of the vocabulary of widowhood. For 6 months Catherine has been addressed, when she has been addressed at all, in tones of careful sympathy. People have spoken to her as if she might break. Schneider, in the noise and heat of the lodge, has spoken to her as if she might dance. The difference is intoxicating. I have watched older women bloom under exactly this kind of address: the unexpected compliment, the teasing name, the refusal to treat them as finished. The blooming can be beautiful. It can also be the beginning of a story that the other person does not know they are in. Schneider's own loneliness is the hidden partner in the delusion. He is not a blank screen onto which Catherine projects. He is a man who lives alone, who measures his worth in usefulness, who has spent years collecting the temporary affections of people who need their radiators fixed or their rugs shampooed. When a woman looks at him with the full force of reawakened desire, the look must land somewhere. Even as he prepares to let her down, some part of him registers the rare experience of being wanted for something other than his tools and his timing. The series is wise enough not to make him cruel in his rejection. He is flustered, kind, and genuinely alarmed. The alarm contains a flicker of something else, the recognition that for a moment he was the object of a story larger than maintenance. The kinky camel dance that Schneider supposedly loves is never shown, and its absence makes it more powerful. We are left to imagine Catherine in the privacy of her grief-struck body moving in a way that has nothing to do with mourning. The dance becomes a symbol of everything the 6 months have suppressed: play, sexuality, the willingness to look ridiculous in the service of delight. When she reports that he loves the way she does it, she is reporting that someone has witnessed her in a mode other than sorrow and has not turned away. For a woman who has been living as a monument to her own loss, the witness is almost unbearable in its sweetness. I think of the evenings my grandmother began to wait by the window for the widower's car. The waiting itself changed her posture. She checked her hair. She chose the better sweater. The family watched with the same mixture of hope and protectiveness that Anne and Barbara display. We wanted her to have whatever warmth was available. We also feared the speed of her attachment, the possibility that the warmth was more about the desert she had been living in than about the specific man who had appeared with a little shade. In the end, the widower moved to Florida to live with a daughter. My grandmother returned to her silence, though it was a slightly different silence, one that had known a brief interruption. Catherine's interruption is more vivid and more public, but it belongs to the same family of experiences: the heart's abrupt decision that it has been alone long enough, and its subsequent willingness to read love into the first available set of kind actions. The chipped beef dinner that Catherine arranges is staged with the full ceremony of a romantic overture. She has entered Schneider's apartment. She has cooked, she has put on music, she is ready to dance. The preparations are heartbreaking in their hopefulness. She has translated a single day of forced joy into the opening chapter of a future. Schneider's arrival into that prepared scene is the arrival of a man who thought he was coming to a difficult conversation and has instead walked into a proposal. The mismatch is total. Her face is arranged for romance. His is arranged for gentle withdrawal. Between them sits the plate of chipped beef, cooling, institutional, and loaded with more meaning than any dish should have to carry. What the delusion reveals most clearly is the dangerous generosity of people who intervene in grief. Schneider did not set out to become the object of Catherine's affections. He set out to make her ride a mechanical bull and remember that her body could still occupy space in a noisy room. The intervention succeeded too well. It reopened channels that had been sealed, and the first rush of feeling through those channels had to go somewhere. It went toward him. The responsibility is not his alone, but it is partly his. Anyone who pulls a person out of deep silence becomes, at least for a time, the shape of the world outside the silence. Catherine fell in love with the shape. The fact that the shape did not intend to be loved does not make the feeling less real to the person feeling it. I have been both the intervener and the one who misread the intervention. I have taken people to noisy places when their silence scared me, and I have watched them attach to the relief in ways I did not anticipate. I have also, in my own periods of emotional starvation, mistaken ordinary kindness for the beginning of a larger story. The mistake is ordinary. It is also one of the more painful ordinary experiences available, because it requires a second humiliation, the humiliation of being told that the story was never mutual. Catherine is moving toward that second humiliation with the full momentum of her first joy. The daughters see it coming. Schneider sees it coming. She herself does not, because the feeling inside her body is too loud to permit the quieter evidence of his actual intentions. In the end, the romantic delusion is not a failure of intelligence. It is a success of need. Catherine needed to be seen as something other than a widow, and for one loud day Schneider saw her that way. She constructed a future out of that seeing. The construction is made of chip beef, of a nickname, of a dance no one else witnessed, of the simple fact that someone made her get out of the chair and into the world. The materials are fragile. They will not hold, but for the length of this movement, before the gentle rejection arrives, they hold enough to let a grieving woman believe that her life might still contain a chapter that is not about absence. The belief is temporary. While it lasts, it is absolute, and the absolute quality of it, the way she says crazy legs as if the words themselves are a form of proof, is what makes the coming disillusionment so difficult to watch and so impossible to look away from. The rejection, when it finally arrives, is almost unbearably kind. Schneider does not mock, he does not freeze, he does not hide behind jokes long enough to make the moment purely comic. He sits inside the prepared scene, the chip beef on toast, the music. The effort is visible, it costs him. Watching it, I feel the familiar ache of every gentle rejection I have either given or received. The particular pain that comes when kindness and clarity must occupy the same sentence. Catherine has arranged the evening as a continuation of the miracle. She has cooked the dish that connects him to his naval past. She has made the space ready for dancing. She has already, in the private theater of her mind, crossed the distance from rescue to romance. When Schneider begins to speak of friendship, of pals, of buddies, of amigos, each word lands like a small careful stone placed on the wrong side of a scale. She has brought love. He is answering with the vocabulary of the lodge. The mismatch is total, and for a few long seconds the room holds both realities at once, her future and his refusal, before the heavier one begins to sink. I have delivered this kind of truth. I have sat across from someone whose face was still arranged for a different conversation and watched the arrangement collapse in real time. The collapse is never clean. There is usually a moment of pure incomprehension, as if the words have arrived in a language the listener has not studied. Then comes the search for a different interpretation. Perhaps he is shy, perhaps he is afraid, perhaps the refusal is only temporary. Catherine reaches for those interpretations with the same desperate creativity she once brought to the blue-haired rival and the unforgiven death. She tells him she is woman enough to know there is something between them. The claim is unanswerable by evidence because it rests on the private weather of her own body. He can only keep repeating the narrower truth: there is no us. There is friendship, there is comfort, there is the particular ease of a woman who laughs at his jokes and cooks a competent chip beef. There is not the other thing. The phrase "put your shoes back on" is one of the series' quiet masterstrokes. It is practical, almost parental, and devastating. In the logic of the evening, she has already begun to occupy the more intimate space of the stocking foot, the relaxed body, the woman at home in a man's apartment. The instruction returns her to the public version of herself, the version that still requires the full armor of shoes. I have given versions of this instruction. I have watched someone reach for a more intimate posture and had to say carefully that the posture was not available. The words are small. The rearrangement they require is large. Schneider's loneliness sits beside Catherine's like a second guest at the table. He is not rejecting her from a position of romantic abundance. He is a man who wins the Mr. Bachelor contest at the lodge, who collects temporary dates with meter maids and chiropractors from Alaska, who performs a noisy circulating sexuality that never quite settles into permanence. When he tells her, he is comfortable with her, that she is a special person, that real friends are harder to come by than lovers. He is telling a truth that costs him something. He is admitting that the very qualities that make her safe, her laughter, her cooking, her willingness to occupy the friend category, are the qualities he cannot afford to risk by converting them into a romance that might fail. The comfort is real. The limits of the comfort are also real. He chooses the limits because he knows himself. He is a man who leaves before the well runs dry. He is trying in his way not to leave her at the bottom of one. The Yucatan story, he reaches for the Mayan girl, the sacrificial well, the sign that said virgins only, is pure Schneider, a comic deflection that also functions as a confession. He has been the cause of other people's drastic feelings before. He has watched women prepare to throw themselves into metaphorical wells on his account. The story is meant to lighten the present moment. It also reveals the pattern. He is accustomed to being the object of intenser attachments than he can return. The familiarity does not make him cruel, it makes him careful. He has learned the hard way that his particular brand of cheerful presence can be misread as a larger promise, and he is trying this time to correct the misreading before it requires a more violent extraction. Catherine's response moves through the classic stations of this particular grief. First, the attempt to hold the original story together. Then the sharp sudden anger. He lured her, he let her cook, he allowed the evening to take on the shape of courtship. Then the collapse into the deeper and more dangerous claim she has nothing to live for. The claim is not theatrical. It is the sound of a woman who has tested the world after the loss of her primary audience and has found once again that the secondary audiences are not enough. Her daughter, her granddaughters, her volunteer work, her bowling team. Anne lists them with the desperate competence of someone trying to build a raft out of available materials. Catherine swats the list aside. The materials do not float. Only Michael floated, and Michael is gone, and the man who briefly looked like he might float has just announced that he is only a friend. I have sat with people in the moment when the secondary list is offered and refused. The refusal is not ingratitude. It is accuracy of a brutal kind. The love of children and friends and committees is real, and it is not the same love that organizes a life from the center outward. When the central love is removed, the others do not automatically expand to fill the space. They remain what they were: necessary, insufficient. Catherine is not wrong to name the insufficiency. The naming is one of the more honest things the series allows a woman of her age and generation to do. She is not required to be comforted by the knowledge that she is still needed in secondary ways. She is allowed to say that secondary need is not the same as being the primary person in someone else's daily existence. Schneider's final attempt to tell her that she must stop feeling sorry for herself, that she has never lived for herself, that the woman in the mirror is still available to be known, is the speech of a man who believes in motion as medicine. It is consistent with everything he has done since the white elephant sale. Get up, go out, ride the bull. Look in the mirror and ask the question. The advice is not wrong. It is only incomplete. Some silences do not yield to motion. Some mirrors return a face that has been organized for too long around another face, and the reorganization takes more than a single conversation in an apartment that still smells of chip beef. He offers the best truth he has available. The truth is not yet the one she can use. The limits of comfort become visible in the very kindness of the rejection. Schneider can give her friendship. He can give her the particular ease of shared jokes and competent SOS. He can give her the temporary gift of interruption, the mechanical bull, the noisy day that proved her body still knew how to occupy space. He cannot give her a place at the center of his life. Because the center of his life is a circulating vacancy that he fills with errands and lodge nights and women who do not require him to stay. The vacancy is his own loneliness wearing the mask of freedom. Catherine, who has just been forced to look at her own vacancy, is not in a position to accept a smaller offering. She needs the large thing, or she needs to be left alone with the lack of it. Friendship in this moment feels like a consolation prize she did not ask to win. I think of the evenings I have tried to convert a romantic hope into a friendship and have watched the other person try to live inside the narrower room. Sometimes it works after a long season of awkwardness. Sometimes the narrower room is still too full of the ghost of the larger one and both people eventually have to leave it. Catherine's face as the evening ends suggests the second outcome. She has been returned to her shoes, to her status as friend, to the list of secondary reasons to keep living. The return feels like a second widowhood. The first one took Michael. The second one takes the future she had begun to build in the space that Michael left. What remains after the gentle rejection is the knowledge that some forms of loneliness cannot be solved by the people who are available. Schneider is available as a friend. Anne and Barbara are available as daughters. The bowling team is available as occupation. None of them is available as the daily primary ordinary beloved whose presence organizes the meaning of a house. Catherine has been forced to look at that fact twice, once when Michael died, and again, when the man who interrupted the silence declined to become permanent. The double looking is almost too much for the form to hold. The series holds it anyway for a few long minutes without rushing to repair it with a joke or a sudden change of heart. In the end, the chipped beef sits between them like an unused sacrament. It was prepared for a communion that will not take place. Schneider will eat it, or he will not. The eating will not convert the evening into the one Catherine arranged. She will go home eventually to the apartment where the dust still settles and the rubber stamp still waits in the drawer. The silence will be different now. It will contain not only the absence of Michael but the absence of the future that briefly bloomed around a nickname and a mechanical bull and a man who turned out to be only kind. The difference is not an improvement, it is simply the new shape of what must be carried. And Schneider, left alone with the plate and the knowledge of what he has had to say, must carry his own version of the same weight, the weight of being someone's almost. The weight of offering comfort that has clear and unnegotiable limits, the weight of remaining by his own choice on the safer side of the line that separates friend from the person who stays. Barbara stands in the kitchen and announces that she is having a midlife crisis at 19, and the joke is only half a joke. The fear underneath it is older than her age and larger than the immediate problem of a major. She has reached the first moment in her life when the future is no longer a vague, bright mist but a set of doors that must be chosen among, and the act of choosing feels less like freedom than like the beginning of a long, irreversible narrowing. I remember that feeling with a clarity that still produces a physical response, the slight tightness across the ribs, the sense that every option simultaneously available is also in the process of being lost. She has spent the years before this one in the long protected drift of childhood and early adolescence. Decisions were small or reversible. Now the culture, the college, the family, and the calendar have converged to demand a declaration. What will you be? The question is posed as if the answer already exists inside her and only needs to be located. Barbara's panic is the panic of someone who has looked inside and found, instead of a clear preference, a crowded room of competing interests, each of them plausible, none of them inevitable. Marine biology, political science, journalism, dentistry. The list is not a sign of shallowness. It is a sign of a mind that has not yet been forced to kill off its own possibilities. The aptitude test becomes the false oracle. She takes it. She waits for the results with the mixture of hope and dread that people bring to any instrument that promises to know them better than they know themselves. When the results are delayed or disappointing, the disappointment is not only about the score. It is about the failure of the external authority to perform the rescue she had half expected. I took versions of these tests. I filled in the little bubbles and waited for the machine to return a clean noun that would organize the rest of my life. The machine returned ranges, probabilities, polite suggestions. It did not return a self. Barbara's confrontation with that same insufficiency is one of the more honest depictions of early adult panic the series ever managed. Anne's response is the response of a woman who made her own most consequential choice, marriage, before she had finished becoming the person who would have to live inside it. She knows what it is to wake up inside a life that was selected too early and too narrowly. Her advice therefore carries the weight of autobiography even when she is trying to be merely maternal. She tells Barbara that decisions are hard, that most people never know whether they were right, that the lightning bolt certainty of saints is not available to the rest of us. The advice is true and almost impossible to use. Knowing that everyone else is also guessing does not make the guessing any easier when the guess will determine the shape of the next several years. Schneider's interruption, his insistence on speaking, his comic attempts at wisdom functions as both relief and complication. He is the voice of a man who never stood in this particular abyss. His path was not organized around majors and aptitude tests. It was organized around the immediate demands of work, of the building of the next broken thing that needed fixing. When he tells Barbara that the decision is simply a matter of making up her mind, he is speaking from a moral universe in which action precedes certainty. The advice is not useless. It is only incomplete. Some temperaments can choose by leaping. Barbara's temperament requires her to see the ground on the other side of the leap, and the ground refuses to come into focus. The pressure from the rest of the family only thickens the fog. Her father offstage favors business administration, the practical, the remunerative, the path that leads to a desk and a title. Catherine, still half inside her own grief, suggests home economics as if the domestic sphere might still offer a young woman a coherent identity. Anne refuses to choose for her, which is both respectful and, to Barbara, a form of abandonment. Everyone has an opinion about the kind of future that would be suitable. No one can inhabit the future with her. The solitude of the choice is what finally produces the crisis. She can gather advice from every direction and still be left alone with the responsibility of selecting which parts of herself will be allowed to grow and which parts will have to be left unwatered. I lived inside this exact solitude. In the spring of my own sophomore year, I made lists until the lists became a form of superstition. I wrote the names of possible lives in different inks. I asked friends to vote. I asked strangers in bars what they would do if they were me. None of the votes mattered because the voter would not have to wake up inside the consequences. The realization, when it finally came, was not empowering. It was simply clarifying. The choice would be mine, not because I had special wisdom, but because no one else could be conscripted into living it. Barbara is approaching that same clarifying loneliness. The series allows her to feel its full weight without rushing to relieve it with a tidy resolution. The fear of the wrong choice is not primarily a fear of failure. It is a fear of foreclosure. Every major she selects will close the door on the others. The marine biologist will not also be the journalist. The dentist will not also spend her days among political theories. At 19, the self still feels multiple. The culture demands that it become singular. The violence of that demand is rarely named, but Barbara feels it in her body. She does not yet have a strong enough preference to make the killing of the other possibility like anything other than murder. So she delays. She bargains with the calendar. Friday at 5. Maybe 6. 7 is a possibility. 8 is not out of the question. The comic haggling with the deadline is the sound of a mind trying to keep all the doors ajar for one more hour. Anne's own history sits under the conversation like a second floor. She married before she had finished the experiment of being a person alone in the world. She has spent the years since the divorce trying to complete the experiment while also raising 2 daughters and building a business. When she tells Barbara that she never lived enough before marriage to know who she was, she is offering her own cautionary tale as a form of permission. Take the time. Do not rush into a shape that will be hard to revise. The permission is generous. It is also frightening. Time itself has become one of the things Barbara must choose how to spend, and spending it on further uncertainty feels to a young woman raised inside the ethic of progress like a kind of failure. The abyss is not only about career, it is about the larger question of what kind of person she is going to underwrite with her days. A major is only the first public declaration of that underwriting. Behind it stand the quieter declarations where she will live, what kind of love she will be available for, how much risk she will tolerate, how much ordinary unhappiness she will accept as the price of a particular path. At 19, these questions are still capable of producing vertigo. Later, they will be answered by inertia and accumulation as much as by choice. Barbara is still in the stage where the answers feel like they must be given in a single sitting with full knowledge of the consequences. The series is wise enough to let her stand in that impossible requirement without pretending it is easy. I return often to the image of Barbara in the kitchen, the refrigerator light briefly illuminating a face that has not yet learned how to hide its panic. She is not afraid of work. She is afraid of becoming someone she does not yet know, and of the possibility that the someone will turn out to be smaller than the set of possibilities she currently carries. The fear is reasonable. Most lives are smaller than the lives that were possible at 19. The culture rarely admits this. It prefers the language of empowerment and unlimited potential. Barbara's crisis is the sound of someone discovering the gap between the language and the actual structure of a life. Schneider's final comic turn the suggestion that women can do anything except perhaps become Pope or a good bandleader lands as both progressive and antiquated in the same breath. He is trying to expand her sense of the possible. He is also revealing the limits of his own map. The series allows the limitation to stand. No one has the complete map. Anne has the map of a woman who chose too early. Schneider has the map of a man who never faced this particular crossroads. Barbara must draw the next section herself in the dark with instruments that only pretend to be precise. In the end, the sophomore abyss is not a problem to be solved inside a single episode. It is a condition to be inhabited. Barbara will eventually make a choice, first the choice to drop out, then the choice to work, then the further choices that will follow from those. But the abyss itself does not disappear. It simply changes form. Later, it will become the question of whether the work is enough, whether the love is enough, whether the person she has become is one she is willing to continue being. At 19, the abyss is still pure. It has not yet been filled with the sediment of previous decisions. That purity is what makes it so terrifying and so valuable. It is the last moment when the self can still imagine itself as almost anything. The series, for a few clear-eyed scenes, lets us stand with Barbara at the edge of that moment, looking out at the doors, feeling the full weight of the fact that walking through one of them will make the others impossible. The feeling is not comfortable. It is not meant to be. It is simply one of the more honest weather systems that early adulthood contains, and the show at its best is willing to let the weather stand. The words leave Barbara's mouth with the peculiar mixture of defiance and terror that accompanies any real declaration of independence. I'm dropping out. She has rehearsed the sentence. She has steeled herself against the expected explosion. What she has not fully prepared for is the way the explosion will contain not only anger but a grief so immediate and so personal that it almost eclipses the practical arguments. Anne does not hear a temporary pause in education. She hears the first domino in a sequence she has already watched fall once with Julie. The sequence ends in a different state, a different life, a daughter who did not come back. The panic that rises in her is not abstract. It has a name and a geography and a set of photographs that still arrive in the mail from Texas. I have made this same announcement. I have stood in a kitchen that suddenly felt too small and said the words that would rearrange the family's idea of my future. The words are never only about school. They are about the refusal to continue inhabiting a structure that has begun to feel like a costume. Barbara has looked at the costume of the college student, the courses without a center, the pressure to declare a major. She does not feel the sense that she is spending money and time on a performance of direction she does not possess, and has decided to take it off. The decision is impulsive and considered in equal measure. It is the product of weeks of private calculation and of a single moment when the calculation tipped. Anne's response moves through the classic stations of maternal terror. First, the pure refusal you cannot. Then the historical warning your sister did this and never returned. Then the financial interpretation this must be about money, about the family's precarious new business, about Barbara trying to relieve a burden that Anne has not asked her to relieve. Each station is understandable. Each one misses the central point. Barbara is not primarily escaping cost. She is escaping the feeling of falseness. She wants, in her own repeated phrase, time to be in the world without the mediating institutional frame. Time to discover what she might want by encountering what the world actually offers a young woman with no credentials and no clear map. The argument that unfolds is one of the series' most precise depictions of the generation gap inside a single family. Anne's generation understood education as a ladder that once stepped off was difficult to step back onto. The consequences of leaving were permanent in ways that felt structural. Barbara's emerging generation is beginning to entertain the possibility that paths can be left and rejoined, that experience itself might be a form of credential. That the linear model of achievement is only one available model. Neither woman is entirely wrong. The latter is real. The possibility of rejoining it is also real, though never as simple as the younger person imagines. The series lets the two truths stand against each other without forcing an easy synthesis. Schneider's attempt at arbitration is both comic and strangely clarifying. He offers to hear both sides as if the conflict were a dispute over a parking space rather than a struggle over the meaning of a life. His presence lowers the temperature just enough for the real positions to become audible. Barbara does not want to be a professional student drifting through courses that do not accumulate into a self. Anne does not want to watch a second daughter disappear into the diffuse category of people who meant to go back and never did. Between those two refusals sits the actual young woman, 19 years old, terrified of foreclosure and equally terrified of endless deferral. The lure of experience is the most seductive and the most dangerous element in Barbara's position. She has been told by the culture and by the quiet implications of her mother's own history that real life is elsewhere outside the classroom, in the jobs and cities and relationships that supposedly teach what books cannot. The telling is not wrong, it is incomplete. Experience is a teacher, but it is not a systematic one. It offers lessons in the order it chooses, not in the order the student needs. Barbara imagines that by stepping into the current, she will be carried toward clarity. What she is more likely to meet is the ordinary confusion of underpaid work, of days that do not accumulate into narrative, of the slow discovery that the self does not become clearer simply because the institutional frame has been removed. I made the same wager. The current did teach me. It also wasted years that a more deliberate path might have used differently. Both outcomes are true. The series, to its credit, does not pretend to know which one will predominate in Barbara's case. Anne's reference to her own truncated experiment in independence is the emotional center of the confrontation. She married before she had finished the work of becoming a person who could stand alone. The marriage ended. The work of becoming had to be resumed in the presence of children and under the pressure of economic necessity. When she looks at Barbara, she sees both a daughter and a version of herself that might still be protected from an early foreclosure. The protective impulse is so strong that it temporarily blinds her to the possibility that protection itself can become a form of foreclosure. By insisting that Barbara stay inside the structure, she risks turning the structure into a cage. By letting her leave, she risks the Texas outcome. There is no safe parental move. The series allows that impossibility to stand. The financial subplot, Barbara's insistence that the family cannot afford her tuition, Anne's equally fierce insistence that they can, adds a layer of class tension that the show rarely addresses so directly. Money is never only money. It is the medium through which love and fear and obligation travel. Barbara's offer to remove herself as a cost is a form of love. Anne's refusal to accept the removal is also a form of love. Between them sits the actual ledger of the new business. The insurance check, the office that still needs paint, the quiet terror of a household that has only recently begun to stabilize after divorce and robbery. The argument about tuition is an argument about whether the family is allowed to believe in its own future. Anne needs to pay the tuition in order to prove that the future exists. Barbara needs to refuse it in order to prove that she will not be the weight that sinks it. I remember the precise pitch of my own mother's voice when I said I was leaving school. It contained anger, yes, but underneath the anger was a grief that had nothing to do with wasted tuition and everything to do with the sudden vision of a child stepping outside the only safety she knew how to provide. The safety was imperfect. It was still the one she had built with her own hands. When a child refuses it, the refusal feels like a judgment on the building itself. Anne's panic has that quality. Barbara is not only leaving college, she is leaving the particular future Anne has been quietly constructing for her since the divorce, the future in which the daughters are educated, mobile, protected from the early compromises Anne herself had to make. The departure feels like a rejection of that entire maternal project. The compromise that begins to emerge: Barbara will work, she will take time, she will retain the right to return, is less a resolution than a temporary ceasefire. Both women understand that the ceasefire is unstable. Work may clarify Barbara's desires or it may simply exhaust them. The open door back to college may remain open, or it may slowly close as the months become years and the identity of student is replaced by the identity of person who once was a student. The series does not pretend to know which outcome is more likely. It only insists on the dignity of the question. Barbara is allowed to want experience without being dismissed as frivolous. Anne is allowed to fear the consequences without being dismissed as controlling. The space between those two permissions is where the actual drama lives. What makes the conflict so painful is that both women are trying to protect Barbara's future from different directions. Anne sees the danger of an unstructured life that drifts into permanence. Barbara sees the danger of a structured life that never had her full consent. Each danger is real. Each protective move threatens to produce the very outcome it is meant to prevent. There is no parental or filial strategy that eliminates risk. There is only the ongoing negotiation of which risks are tolerable and which are not. The negotiation begins in this kitchen on this day with a young woman who has decided that the risk of staying has become larger than the risk of leaving. In the end, the decision to drop out is less a rebellion against Anne than a rebellion against the premature foreclosure of possibility. Barbara is not rejecting education as such. She is rejecting the obligation to perform certainty she does not feel. The performance has become too expensive. It costs her the sense of being present inside her own life. By stepping out, she hopes to recover that presence. Whether the recovery will be worth the cost is a question the episode cannot answer. It can only show the cost being counted in real time on the faces of two women who love each other and who cannot, for the space of this argument, find a way to protect each other from the future. The lure of experience remains just that, a lure. It shines. It promises. It does not guarantee. Barbara will walk toward it because the alternative has become unbearable. Anne will watch her walk and will feel the old terror rise, the terror of a second daughter disappearing into a story that no longer includes the daily maternal hand. Between them, the kitchen stands as the site of a necessary fracture. The fracture is not the end of the relationship. It is the beginning of a different one. A relationship in which Barbara will have to become, at least for a while, the primary author of her own consequences. The authorship is frightening. It is also the only form of adulthood that finally counts. The series at its most clear-eyed lets the fear and the necessity occupy the same frame without forcing either one to yield. The employment agency smells of old carpet and other people's desperation. Barbara sits across from a man who has already decided what she is: young, unskilled, female, a problem to be managed rather than a possibility to be opened. His voice carries the practiced brightness of someone who has given the same speech to 100 versions of her. The world is waiting. Opportunity is unlimited. The sky is the limit. Then the questions begin and the sky lowers with each one. How many words a minute do you type? What experience do you have? What makes you think you are ready for anything more than the lowest rung? The gap between the rhetoric of possibility and the actual inventory of her qualifications becomes the first humiliation of the day. It will not be the last. I have sat in that chair. I have watched a stranger's eyes move down my thin resume as if measuring a piece of fabric that has already been judged too slight for the garment. The particular shame of the job search at 19 or 20 is that it forces a confrontation with the difference between the self you imagine and the self the market is willing to recognize. Barbara has been told she can be anything. The agency is prepared to offer her a position as a popcorn girl or a clerk at a dry cleaner's. The collapse of scale is almost physical. One moment the language is boundless. The next, it is measuring her for a paper hat. The counselor's condescension is not personal. It is structural. He has seen too many young people arrive with the soft confidence of the recently educated and the hard reality of having nothing the economy currently needs. His speech about the PhD in zoology, who took a receptionist job at a meatpacking plant, is meant as a corrective. It functions as a small violence. It says even the highly credentialed are being sorted downward. What chance do you imagine you have? Barbara's insistence that she wants something creative, exciting, relevant only deepens the gulf. Those adjectives belong to a different economy, one that does not operate inside this office with its filing cabinets and its fluorescent hum. I used those same adjectives once. They floated across the desk and landed nowhere. The man across from me suggested I consider retail. I felt the same sudden smallness Barbara feels. The weeks that follow are a master class in the slow abrasion of hope. 0 for 7. Each rejection arrives with its own specific flavor of dismissal. Too young, no experience. Overqualified for the only positions that might accept no experience. Underqualified for everything else. The arithmetic is brutal and impersonal. Barbara begins to absorb the arithmetic into her posture. Anne watches the absorption with the particular helplessness of a parent who cannot underwrite a first chance. The insurance money has been spent on furniture in the new office. There is no surplus of security to hand over. There is only the daily witness of a daughter coming home slightly smaller than she left. Nick's attempt to help his suggestion that she reframe her limited history as civic official nutritionist person of letters lands as both comic and quietly tragic. He is offering the adult skill of spinning. Barbara's refusal to spin is one of her last remaining forms of dignity. She will not convert 3 weeks at a wading pool into a narrative of municipal leadership. The refusal is principled. It is also a luxury that the search is rapidly pricing out of reach. I refused to spin once too. Then I spun. Then I hated the sound of my own voice doing it. The series captures the exact moment before the compromise becomes necessary, when the young person still believes that integrity and employment can be kept in the same pair of hands. The sporting goods store is the final station of the gauntlet and the site of the improbable reversal. Barbara and Anne have come to buy a fishing rod, an errand that is itself a form of maternal insistence on ordinary continuity. The clerk is a study in the small power of the already hired. He is lazy, dismissive, openly contemptuous of the 2 women who have the misfortune to need his attention near closing time. Dumb, broad. The insult is casual, almost bored. It is the sound of a man who has decided that the customers in front of him are unlikely to affect his continued employment. The decision is a miscalculation. What happens next is one of the series' purest examples of comic justice arriving from an unexpected angle. Anne's anger is real and focused. She demands the manager. She names the behavior. She refuses the manager's attempt to minimize. And then, in a turn that feels both miraculous and completely earned, Barbara simply offers herself as the replacement. The offer is not polished. It is not accompanied by a speech about her qualifications. She has none. What she has is the willingness to stand in the exact place where the previous occupant has just failed, and to do so with the energy of someone who has spent weeks being told she is not ready for any place at all. The manager's decision to hire her as a stock boy is the complicated heart of the miracle. It is a victory. It is also a demotion into a gendered category that the culture still finds faintly comic when occupied by a young woman, stock boy. The term itself contains the residue of a world in which the heavy lifting of inventory was imagined as male work. Barbara accepts the title because the alternative is continued zero. She accepts it with a flash of triumph that is entirely genuine and entirely shadowed by the knowledge of how low the bar has been set. I have accepted versions of that title. The triumph and the shadow arrived together, and they did not cancel each other. Anne's face during the hiring is a study in conflicting weather, pride that her daughter has forced a door, fear that the door opens onto a life of underpaid physical labor with no clear ladder upward, relief that the immediate crisis of rejection has been interrupted. The complexity of that face is one of the reasons the scene continues to feel true decades later. Parental feeling is rarely single. It arrives in chords, some of the notes dissonant. Anne manages to hold the chord without forcing it into a simpler harmony. The walk home or to the dinner that will now become a celebration carries the peculiar energy of a battle that has been won on unexpected terms. Barbara is employed. The employment is not the one she imagined when she spoke of creative and relevant work. It is work. It has a start time and a set of tasks and a paycheck that will be small but real. For a young person who has spent weeks being told that even the smallest place is unavailable, the reality of a place is intoxicating. The intoxication will fade. The early mornings and the repetitive labor and the customers who will speak to her the way the previous clerk spoke to her mother will arrive soon enough. But for this evening the miracle is allowed to stand undiminished. What the entire gauntlet reveals is the brutal efficiency with which the adult economy sorts the uncredentialed young. Talent, intelligence, energy, and goodwill are not sufficient. What is required is a previous entry on the ledger, a prior recognition by the system that is now being asked to recognize again. Without that prior mark, the young person is asked to accept a status that feels like a contradiction of everything she has been told about her own potential. Barbara's willingness to accept the status of stock boy is not a surrender of potential. It is a strategic occupation of the only available ground from which potential might eventually be demonstrated. Whether the demonstration will be possible from that ground is a question the episode leaves open. The openness is honest. I think of the first job that finally said yes to me after a season of no. The work was beneath what I thought I was for. It was also the first place in months where my presence was required by someone other than my own anxiety. The requirement itself became a form of restoration. Barbara is walking into that same restoration. The sporting goods store will not ask her what she is passionate about. It will ask her to lift boxes, to count inventory, to arrive on time. The questions are smaller. They are also answerable. After weeks of being measured against standards, she could not yet meet. The relief of answerable questions is profound. The miracle then is not that the universe has recognized Barbara's specialness. The miracle is that a single manager, irritated by a bad employee and faced with a young woman who was simply present and willing, decided to take a chance that required almost nothing from him and everything from her. Most first chances are this small and this arbitrary. They do not arrive because the applicant has finally perfected the self. They arrive because someone else's failure has created a gap, and the applicant is standing close enough to fall into it. Barbara has been standing close to gaps for weeks. This is the first one that opened under her feet at the right moment. In the end, the job search gauntlet does not teach Barbara what she wants to do with her life. It teaches her something more basic and more lasting: what it costs to be allowed to do anything at all. The cost is paid in humiliation, in reframed biographies, in the acceptance of titles that do not match the self-image one brought into the agency office. The payment is not fair. It is simply the price that the particular economy of that moment exacts from those who have not yet been allowed to prove themselves. Barbara pays it. She walks out of the sporting goods store employed. The employment is a beginning, not a destination. But beginnings after a long season of refusal can feel like destinations for a little while. The series lets her have that feeling. It does not mock it. It simply places it in the larger context of a life that will require many more such payments and many more such small arbitrary openings before the shape of a real vocation begins to emerge from the fog.